Okay, hello everybody. Hopefully we're going live right now. We'll get this thing going in a moment. Hope you're all been well. It's been a while. So yeah, I'll be looking at the chats. I think I've got a chat window going, but we will find out. I'll have to mute the audio here. There we go. Okay, let's get this show on the road. G'day everybody. How you going? It's been a while. As it usually is. Life's been busy. Some of you may have known that I had to go down to Victoria towards the start of the year, and I was down there for a couple of months for a family emergency, but I'm back home. And in the time that I've been back home, I've done a bit of an upgrade. I have a new PC now. I no longer have the Ryzen 5 3600 with the 32 gig and DDR4 and RTX 2060, which at the end there was upgraded to a RTX 2070. Well, technically I still do have it, but I gave it to my partner Gizmo, and it's now her new gaming PC, and replaced the motherboard because I was having issues with that. For a while there, I kept on having crashes when I was playing games. I thought it was the GPU until my friend Shaker gave me his old 2070, and I replaced my 2060 with that, and the crashes still happen. So I bought my new PC, which I'll show you in a second, and got a new motherboard, put all of my components in that, and Gizmo hasn't been getting the crashes I have, so it was something to do with the motherboard, which kind of sucks. But it's fixed now. So I'll pop up on my screen one of my latest purchases. Anyway, you'll have to excuse me because I haven't played this. I was actually searching YouTube, and it just inspired me to do a talking the shit video, which I haven't done in a while. Just shooting the shit, I mean. Not talking the shit, shooting the shit. So what I want to talk about tonight, once I show up my new PC here, just one moment. There we go. So the first time I've done this in a while. I didn't build my own PC. I went and bought a PC from M-Wave called the Arch Gaming PC, or its full name is the Arch Vile. I'm not going to go into how much this cost. All I'll say is it was too much, but you can be able to see the specs on the screen. But yeah, it's an AMD Ryzen 7 9800 X3D, GeForce RTX 5080 16 gigabytes, specifically gigabytes 5080. I believe it's factory overclocked, unless I'm mistaken. Yeah, gaming OC 16 gigabytes. So it's probably got a slight factory overclock on it. 64 gigabytes DDR RAM, 4 terabyte PCI Gen 4 NVMe, and it has Windows 11 Home there, but I have upgraded it to Windows 11 Pro because I do use some of the stuff that is available in Windows Pro that isn't in Home, just on some technical sort of things. But yeah, that's basically it. First water cooler I've ever had with the AOI one. I'm got to say this Gigabyte one, not really impressed, especially considering it's like a $400 cooler. But this is the most I've ever spent on a PC, I will say. And I've got to say I'm disappointed because, yeah, you see in pictures and things, when you see the cooler, you might be able to see it there, but they always show it like 30 degrees and stuff. And you think, well, that's probably at idle. This thing at idle, mine is... it's about 50 degrees. But that's not what I'm here to talk about tonight. Just thought I'd add that in for some context is relevant because of the fact that I am now an owner of an RTX 50 series card, or specifically RTX 5080. And there has been a lot of shit talking of nvidia lately, and of the 50 series in particular. And it's starting to piss me off. Why? Because why did I get a 50 series? Because honestly, that's why Gizmo still got my RTX 2070 now. Thank you, Shaker. My Ryzen 5 3600 and the 32 gig I had in there. Actually, one stick died, I think. The new motherboard doesn't like it, so it's only running on 16 at the moment. And then I've got 2 drive, but it's playing everything that my partner plays just fine. It played most of the games I like to play just fine. even with ray tracing and stuff enabled, I've seen like modern GPUs that they show with like DLSS set to quality and stuff like that, and they're getting worse frame rates than I was getting in Cyberpunk, 2077. It's like, but you got more powerful cards, and it's not just NVIDIA cards, it's also AMD ones. And I've always thought that was weird. It's like these so-called tech channels are like, oh, yeah, I'm running it at ultra soon, blah, blah, blah. But they're doing stupid shit too. Like, you'll see people running things at 4K when obviously an RTX 20 series card, if you've got half a brain, you'd know up until at least the 20 series of cards, NVIDIA cards are basically a 1080p card. More people out there using 1080p still than there is even 1440p. I've only just recently, 1440p has been around for a long time. But part of my upgrade is now, you'll see me looking up a lot because usually I have side-by-side monitors, but now I have two 21 by 9 ultra-wide monitors, 1440p, and a top one, a slightly smaller one, that's 1080p, but still ultra-wide. And, yeah. But most people are still using a 16 by 9 monitor and are quite happy to be on lower resolutions. They're not doing 4K gaming and stuff. If you look at things like Steam stats or the hardware poll or whatever they do each year and the stats that come from that, very few people are going to be running a 50 series level of card. But I just want to say, I don't think I could probably do, just bear with me, is I'll bring up my 3D Mark benchmarks that I've done because I love running me 3D benchmark, 3D Mark benchmarks. Even though they're synthetic benchmarks, I like them because they're the same benchmark every time. There's no variance in them. That's good to see, like when you're messing around with settings and trying to learn your new GPU and stuff to see what does what and the results you get. So just bear with me while I bring this up. You're going to get to see something I don't show off to people too often. Okay, let me do the hide my bookmark toolbar because, yeah, I want to respect my privacy. Okay, go, right. And also because I'm an ultra wide, I'm trying to scale my browser windows and stuff so they'll fit this 1080p output that I'm doing on this video easily. You'll have to bear with me because I haven't added my Firefox. Which is what I've logged into this with. So just give me a second. Firefox capture. I've got to set up a capture window for this. I should have thought ahead and planned this. There we go. Done. And yeah, let's just transform and fit that to screen. All right, well, it's not fitting perfectly, but it'll do. But yeah, you'll see here's my benchmark results here, and let me pick a particular time spy because that's the one that most people still use more often than anything else, I think, being DirectX 12. But yeah, we'll add to compare my last run on the 5080, and we'll scroll down until we get to the last run done on the 2070 I had installed on the Ryzen 5. Have to compare, and you'll see there's a massive jump in the scores there. Now, however, that's the point I want to get, but you'll see, yeah, 25,287, 8132, they might not be the exact same tests. I've just grabbed those. I should have grabbed something a bit more comparable, but I think overall the settings are the same. But most benchmarks I have run between my 2070 and this 5080, I have seen pretty much a 4 times increase in the scores. If I've got a 5,000 point score in a benchmark on 3D Mark or similar, I will have like a 20,000 point benchmark by comparison. This one's not a great one because it's probably like 2/3. It depends on the benchmark settings, things like that. But overall, I have seen at least a 4 times increase in my performance on my GPU compared to my previous one. And that makes sense considering, what is it, we're 2025 now. And when I bought my GPU, my RTX 2060, it was about 2020, 2021. So it's only like 4 or 5 years ago that the 20 series really came out. Now, by comparison, so that we'll say 5 or 6 years, GDX. I just want to look at the time frame between the 10 series and the 20 series, right? Okay, so this is just to put some perspective here, okay? So the GeForce GTX 1080 was announced in May 6, 2016 and was released in May 27, 2016. So most of the GTX 10 series of cards, like 1070s, 1080s, were basically released mid 2016. Now, RTX series. Let's hang on here. So, 2016. Right. These were released, officially released in 2018. And I don't think the 2060 came out for a while. These might have been later than what I thought, Amelia. Yeah. See, but yeah, the 2060, the card that I bought, didn't come out till 2019, and I either bought mine late 2019 or early 2020, around when it was still new. It was before the 2060 Supers had come out, because I was annoyed because it was about a month later that the 2060s were released. And I've done the same with the 5080. I went and bought a 5080, and yeah, a month later they've gone and announced the 5080 Supers, which is basically, I think, the same card, but yeah, surprisingly, the 5080 only has 16 gigabytes of RAM, and the Super will have 24 gigabytes of RAM, as far as I'm aware. Now, you might be wondering what this is all about, and I should really get to the point, but again, this is not scripted at all, and just me doing my fly, let me see, because I've got Firefox up there. Oops, wrong one. My webcam, there we go. Yeah, it's been a while since I've done a live stream. But you'll also notice too that I've got much higher quality webcam now, because even though this is streaming at 1080p, I have gone and bought a 4K webcam, a newer eMeet, I think it's called. I think it's based, like, it has same stuff as a particular Razer camera out there, but it's like a cylindrical one. But we're not here to do hardware reviews as such. But overall, I've had a major tech upgrade, and hopefully the stream will be really good, because I've also upgraded my internet. We finally got fiber here at the premises, over 10 years later than it should have been. We were meant to get that back in 2013, but now Aussie PM at the time, Tony Abbott, said, "Oh no, not for you." And we got fiber to the node and got stuck with that for over a decade. Yes, they're still nerfing our upload speeds. It's faster than what I had, but it's nowhere near as close as the now gigabyte per second that or gigabit per second I'm getting on downloads. But yeah, you probably notice that I'm putting a heavy focus on the RTX and the video cards, because the thing is, right, I probably could have gone and got a 30 series or an available 40 series, if you can get them, because some of those models that they're comparing the 50 series to aren't even available. They're not being made or sold anymore. Now, the reason I want to do the time and dates and things too is because the 50 series is a fairly new card. Now, what do we have? The 10 series was 2016. The 20 series was 2019, about 3 years later. For the 2060, it was 3 years later. 2 years later for the 2080s and 2070s. Now, let's look at the release date for the 50 series. And remember, it's been 5 years since I bought my last GPU. And quite literally, the 5080 and the 5090 came out in January. They are a very new card. Because what do we have? January, February, March, April, May, 5 months. It's literally a card that's been out for like 4 months. So as with all new technology and early adoption, you're going to find sometimes there's half-baked drivers. I've had no issues with drivers or anything. All the games I have thrown at it have worked fine. People going on about the frames this and the frames that and the frame generation. Now, the thing is, with the frame generation stuff, I haven't even used it yet. I have played Space Marine 2, for example, which isn't exactly an old game. I've got the HD texture pack for it. And I basically just went in, matched the resolution to my monitor, 1440 by 3000, whatever. So, it's almost like 4K this way and 1444p that way. And just hit Ultra. And it ran, and it gave me absolutely fine frame rates. And even if I put VSync on and cap it at this monitor's max refresh rate is 165 hertz, the smaller one, surprisingly, is 200 hertz. And remember previously, I was playing on 1080p monitors at 60 hertz. But so that came out in 2025. So it's been 5 years since the 2020, and that sounds a bit long. But then you got to realize there's been 2 generations of GPUs released in that time. From Intel, I don't know about Intel and AMD, but I'm pretty sure in that time they've released a couple of different generations of cards themselves. But nvidia have released the 30 series and the 40 series. So basically in a 4 to 5 year period, well, we'll say a 5-year period, they've had 3 generations of cards, with the latest generation coming out now. And it's like the time between development is getting smaller and smaller. Now, the thing that people seem to focus on, though, is this memory stuff, the VRAM. And would I like 24 gigabytes of VRAM on my card? Damn straight I would. But to go the next level up for this PC build that I've got, now, basically, yeah, the only thing better I could have done at the time than the AMD Ryzen 7 9800 X3D was to go to a Ryzen 9. The only way I could get a better GPU was to go to an RTX 5090. And the 5090 has basically double everything the 5080 has, except RAM, because it's got less than double the VRAM, but like AI cores or CUDA cores, that sort of stuff, tensor cores, whatever, bandwidth, things like that, it's almost doubled on the 5090. But you fucking pay for it. You really, really do, because we're paying with the Australia tax. Because I've had people when they find out how much I pay for them, they say, like, what? And I was like, mate, I live in Australia. And we get, you think paying $1,000 for a GPU is bad in your currency. You wait till you come to Australia and they expect you to pay $2,000-3,000, sometimes more for these things. And again, availability. Can you get a 40 series card? Can you get a 30 series card? Can you get a 50 series card? Can you even get half of AMD's offerings? Because people are like, oh, this is where AMD's better because they're cheaper, blah, blah, blah. But again, I want to highlight, no fucking problems playing my games. If anything, massive improvement in my games. But why? Because this is one of my main big points here, is I only upgrade my computer every 5 to sometimes 10 years. Because, as I said, I didn't have to get rid of my Ryzen 5 3600. It's still playing the games I like, the way I like them, just at 1080p. Could have easily got a 1440p monitor, still 16 by 9. Would have got a bit of a frame rate drop from going to a higher resolution, but the performance and everything still would have been all right. And again, like I said, I seem to be getting better performance at 1080p ultra settings on Cyberpunk with DLSS set to quality, and that's not even using the newer DLSSs, because I don't think the 20 series cards can use DLSS 4. And I was just like, how is it that I'm getting like 70 to 90 frames per second? These guys are like, oh, yeah, look at me, but they're running it at 4K and stuff. And again, the average person isn't going to be doing that. Why? Because the average person isn't Steve from Gamers Nexus. The average person isn't fucking Linus Sebastian from LTT. It's not the dudes from Hardware Unboxed and all those other big tech YouTuber channels. They're more like me. They're more like, hey, I can't go drop a fucking $1,000 every other week on new hardware. I cannot go. I don't have sponsors beating down my door saying, hey, man, we brought out this new $3,000 video card. Here you go. You know, like these people do. And I think it's made them out of touch and unrealistically, yeah, they're not looking at the hardware fairly or properly. And I've come to this conclusion especially because, one, I'm a very tech guy. And again, I like you people, I buy my own shit. You know, I'm not sponsored. This video isn't sponsored. You know, you're going to see people that see the thumbnail and think, oh, I love NVIDIA, with me holding the box, kissing it, because is going to think, oh, here's an NVIDIA shill. Here's an NVIDIA fanboy. But no, I base my tech, and anybody who knows me knows I base my tech purchases on my needs. And my needs aren't just gaming. Computers. If I was just going to fucking game and nothing else, I would probably go buy a console because it's just easier. Put your game in, works. Don't got to worry about drivers. You don't got to worry about hardware compatibility, all that shit. You buy an Xbox game, you know it's going to work on that Xbox. You buy a PlayStation game, you know it's going to work on that PlayStation. And consoles these days probably got a longer fucking lifespan than a lot of PC hardware does. But the thing is, this is why GPUs keep going and going and going, because video games are a lot more demanding than Notepad or Paint Shop, you know, the average computer use stuff. But you know what? Computers originally started out as like office machines. You know, you used them to do paperwork, keep office records, stuff like that. And I have used it in my lifetime and in my careers as, you know, graphic design, photoshopping, video editing. Because believe it, you can see my videos, the quality's all over the place because it depends on how motivated I am. But when I'm working for somebody else and doing work for them, you will get goddamn A grade or triple A grade quality output. You know, if I made a video for you for YouTube, it would look nothing like mine. It would look very professional. But yeah, so you need to render things. And before we used to have to render on our CPUs. And then now, these days, a lot of our GPUs take up that work and stuff. And when GPUs started becoming a thing, we used to, or what we call GPUs now, we used to call like 3D. Well, you start off with the video cards, like the ATI Mac 32 or whatever it was, or the Mac 64, I forget. And then we got 3D accelerators because those cards were called 2D cards. They did like your basic desktop stuff, your Windows. They could do a notepad, they could do a JPEG image or whatever, but they weren't very good at generating polygons and stuff that started needing VRAM and things like that. So we started getting things like Voodoo cards and GeForce cards and S3 Verges and I think it was, and just all these video card companies started popping up with their 3D accelerators because, I had two Voodoo 2s running in SLI because that's why nvidia for a while had SLI because they bought 3DFX and all their technologies and stuff when 3DFX went bust. Scanline interleaving order. One card basically drew the lines this way and the other one drew it that way to oversimplify it. And it didn't matter that you had two 8 megabyte cards. I mean, when you think now, 16 gigabytes, but when I got started with 3D acceleration, I had 8 megabyte cards, but you didn't get that full 16 megabytes because, one card, it would just use one card's memory, basically. You couldn't double that memory for some reason. It was one thing that bugged me, where it was like, I'm not getting the performance out of this. I got like 8 megabytes sitting there untouched. And it was also a problem with later SLI implementations, I believe, well into the GTX days. But the thing is that technology changes and its usage changes. When 3D acceleration came out, it was basically so you could run your Quakes and your Unreals and Dooms and things like that, your Half-Lives. And then some people started realizing, well, these things have got memory. These things are basically their own little computers inside a computer. We can do other things with them. And to cut a long story short, these days we're doing things like AI. I can use my video card. I can go into Vegas Studio and my video card renders my video and it's faster than using my CPU. I can use my CPU and my system memory, but it will be slower. And it stops me from basically doing anything else on my computer. But with the GPU, that can render things that'll do it faster. And while it might slow down video-y stuff on my computer, I can still edit documents and things like that because my CPU and system memory is free. Plus my GPU can access my system memory. So it's a bit of feel like a misnomer when you hear people go, oh yeah, you only got 16 gig of VRAM, when it's like, well, yeah. And while my system memory technically is slower, the 64 gigabytes of DDR5 I've got there is slower than I think it's DDR7 on my GPU. My GPU can use it. And it's better you're going to get a bit of slowdown and stuff like that. However, it depends on what you're doing. I've been using stuff like Frame Pack and things, but I'm just fine. But I'm getting ahead of myself there because what I want to rant about is, the Linus Sebastians, the Steves from Gamers Nexus, the Hardware Unboxed guys, and similar. Because everybody since the 50 series came out have been shitting on them. And they did the same thing with the 40 series. They do the same with the 30 series. And they did the same with the 20 series. Remember when ray tracing came out? I was one of those people too that was saying ray tracing is a gimmick. But I still bought an RTX 2060 card because I also said 3 years from now, ray tracing is going to be in everything. It's going to be the norm. And where are we now? How many games have DLSS support, have ray tracing built in? All the stuff that NVIDIA has brought out. I don't see as much of the AMD stuff in there. And I have tried like AMD's FSR. Maybe it works better on AMD cards, but it looks fucking awful on both my 2060 as well as my 5080. And with the 5080, I don't need shit like that because I don't know what these people are talking about, performance and fake jet frames and things. I've not had any problems with anything at all yet. I haven't even used frame generation. I haven't even gone in and manually set up DLSS on anything or DSR. If it's enabled, it's just because the game's done it itself. But I'll go in there and I'll adjust settings. Like if it is using DLSS, I'll put it to damn quality. But it becomes that whole thing about frame rates and stuff, and it's like, how fast is too fast? Now, if my frame rate output is exceeding the refresh rate of my monitors, if my naked eye cannot see the difference between 120 frames per second and 500 frames per second, who gives a shit if I'm only getting 160 frames per second? You know what I mean? Or 200 frames. But I've had no hitching, and this is with me turning shit to ultra at 1440p ultra wide. You know, I'm not letterboxing it down to a 16:9 thing like I am doing for this video. But you're not seeing a lot of these duels. They've still got the mentality of, can it run Crisis? Sort of thing. Most gamers will know that meme. And that's what you hear. Oh, in Formula 1 2022 or this, or Doom Dark Angels and shit like that. This is the benchmarks and stuff. But the one thing they're not doing is because, like I was talking about the video rendering and stuff, GPUs do so much more. I didn't buy it because I'm a gamer. I buy it because I'm a gamer, and I also work in tech and with tech, and I need a powerful GPU to do these things. And they don't cover that. They don't talk about, like, you hear about all these AI cores that are now on these GPUs. And since I've got this thing and I'm trying to install local AIs, maybe I'll do a demo and show you the sort of stuff I can do. It'll probably be a bit slower because I'm doing a stream. But yeah. I think we should have a look at that. I'll get that running in the background. Hopefully it doesn't mess with the stream too much. Sorry, I don't have the web browser up to see if anybody's in the chat because I haven't advertised this either, so people probably won't see it until later. Let's go post the link into the Discord while we're at it. There we go. Somebody might come along and say hello and remind me of something I didn't think of. But I'm not here to shill NVIDIA and stuff, because if NVIDIA was shit and I was having problems with it, I would say. But you know what? I have actually had problems in the past with AMD products. Like, not their CPUs, but 2 times in my life I bought AMD cards. Back when that Radeon was still a thing. Radeon cards. And both of them were dead within a month. Never touched them again. Where the reason I go for NVIDIA and used to go with Intel was because everything just worked. I have never had an NVIDIA GPU, doesn't matter the manufacturer, because NVIDIA makes the chipsets, they don't make the cards. Like my video card, it's not an NVIDIA card, it's a Gigabyte card. And I've never had an NVIDIA product die on me. And you pay a bit more for them, but that's what's called premium. You know, you don't have to buy NVIDIA. You can go get a cheaper brand like AMD and get just as good a performance. And that's how it used to be, where people recommend for me, when people ask me for recommendations, I'd be like, all right, if you were just going to be gaming and mostly gaming and lightweight PC tasks, go Intel CPU, go NVIDIA GeForce for your GPU. Because, yeah, if you're just gaming, nothing else, then, yeah, NVIDIA was the way to go. But I'd also tell people, but if you're doing other tasks like video rendering, stuff like that, have a look at AMD sort of thing. Because, yeah, AMD, I think, once upon a time realised, well, we can't beat NVIDIA at the gaming game. They said they were sort of more targeted at productivity. And now I think those roles are reversing. I mean, NVIDIA's always had their professional cards for the productivity and stuff like that. It's cards you've probably never even heard of. out there, quadros or quattros. But yeah, the sort of cards that cost $6,000 and only a large business would be buying them for their servers and things, or Hollywood production companies and stuff, not people like you and I. You'll so occasionally see these pop up on the big tech channels when they're like, oh, can we run a freaking video game off this portless, overpriced ATSIC card? I think they're called, the ones used for Bitcoin. They're designed for Bitcoin mining, because that's the thing too, GPUs. That's what caused those price hikes that we were seeing like during COVID and stuff like that, because GPUs used to be able to do this Bitcoin mining. I'm not going to go and explain that. And the same thing, I'm not here really to discuss tech specs and shit, because there's been so many videos done on how the 5080 performs in gaming, how it performs in about that. You'll get your usual Cinebench shit too and stuff that people do, but that's mostly for CPUs. You see that these days. There's so many benchmarks out, there's so many reviews, but a lot of them are fake frames, frame generation. Man, it sucks, it costs so much. Here's the thing though, and the main point I want to make. These are people that quite literally, the second new technology comes out, they run out and fucking buy it. I'd run out and buy it too if I had $1 million a year or more fucking company like Linus is running. Especially when you're getting sent samples and crap like that, and you are so big that if you piss off the major sponsors, it doesn't really matter, because they'll still want to sell it to you, because and bow down to you and stuff. They go after slightly smaller channels with the way. I don't like how nvidia does things, but I also understand to some degree why they do what they do and what the things they've been getting called out on lately, especially like Gamers Nexus. They had some issues with that, but I'm not getting into it. Look up Gamers Nexus. And old Steve, being fucking righteous, long-haired fatty Jesus again, is like, oh, and it's like, yeah, I bet you motherfuckers, because he was like, I made a video, had to start, the short version of it, and the rough version is, and they had agreed to this stuff that allowed them to get access to NVIDIA employees directly, engineers and shit. They sat down, got a real good behind the scenes. And damn well that they know NVIDIA was saying to them, do this, but now they think that once they got the footage and shit, they're like, aha, now we can call it as it is. We can ignore what NVIDIA has told us or expects of us. And NVIDIA was basically, all right, you're not allowed to use that footage of our employees. Why haven't they just released a video with that footage? Because if they were entitled to it. No, they must have made some agreement that allowed NVIDIA to have the power to say, do not use this video, do not use that. So I think there's something, and I've noticed this with Steve before, sometimes I think he just leaves out fucking details. But again, it's all this gaming bullshit. That's all they talk about, is fucking gaming and frame gen and blah, blah. It's like, but what about these AI cores that the 40 series don't have, that the 30 series don't have, all these other cards they're comparing them to, but they're not doing AI benchmarks. They're not fucking, some have made mentions of the AI stuff, but it's just very brief and in passing. I think even the Hardware Unboxed guys video I watched of theirs the other day, it was like that. And it's just like, wow, you just really brushed over the AI and brought it back to the game, even though you admitted that the AI part of it is a big part of it. And it was the same with ray tracing. They've been through this before with ray tracing, where NVIDIA is, we don't want to talk about the VRAM and the other shit that we already know exists and knows how it works. We want to focus on the new tech. We want to focus on the AI cores, the AI stuff, even the frame gen. It's here. It's part of the future. It is. Because one of the things is that why are video cards so expensive? Because the chips go up and down in price. The RAM, sometimes RAM, one year RAM might be really cheap. The next year, RAM is expensive as fuck. And so I'm thinking, well, hey, if we don't need the VRAM, if we've got these cores that can do some maths magic and get the same results, that's great, isn't it? Because it means it keeps it in. Yeah, are these cards overpriced? Yes, they are. Inflation is an artificial man-made bullshit. There is no reason for like houses to be 56% more than they were 3 years ago. It is manipulation tactics and things like that, and it's because us, the consumer, allow it to happen. But that's a rant for another day. But it's just to give a perspective that you do not see these big tech channels cover. It's like they've gotten big heads. They don't stay humble. They don't look at things realistically from their viewers' point of view. It's sort of arrogant for me when you get these YouTubers that are like, oh, look at me, I'm building $1 billion fucking smart house, as if we can find that relatable. And I was like, no, man, you're forgetting the humble people, us peasants who made your channels, what they are. And they get out of touch. You see, as they get companies go on, well, they are companies. They're not YouTube channels anymore. They are quite literally fucking businesses with a YouTube dressing. Look at the size of LTT and stuff now. And they have their own sort of like research and testing divisions and stuff like that. Yeah, building badminton courts and crap. Linus Sebastian and Foucault are not just an everyday YouTuber anymore. They have become the same as a commercial TV station sort of thing. And I think he's been getting a bit spoiled from having $14,000 fucking large TVs in his house that he can pull out, throw out every other fucking week and get a new one and write it up on the company's expenses. They've lost touch at the fact that, hey, been 5 years, going on 5 years since my last video card purchase. And in that time, there's been 3 generations of cards. Of course, you're not going to see that fucking leap and stuff when you're buying every 5 minutes the new one comes out. It's actually, when I was younger and the 3D accelerator stuff happened with the Voodoo 2, I quit computer gaming for a while. I went to consoles because it was terrible back then. That, you, even with 2 Voodoo 2s and it was brand new, mind-blowing, top-of-the-line shit, it became outdated very, very fast because these game developers are just like, oh, wait, we've got more memory. Now we can fill up with larger textures. And gameplay hasn't been evolving because they're too worried about adding the shiny, the pretty. Oh, wow, this game looks pretty. Oh, but it's fucking, as wide as an ocean and as shallow as a puddle, I think the saying goes. And so game hardware developers were like trying to keep up, whereas the other way around, no, the game developers just said, here's the limit. Sorry, if your game runs like shit unless it has an extra 16 gig of RAM, well, that's you problem. Learn how to fucking code better. Learn how to optimize better. Unfortunately, it's a practice that hasn't really stopped. It peaked out there for a while, and that's why I came back. But because, like I said, with consoles, I went back to console gaming because I bought a console. I was done for a fraction of the price of what these fucking computers were. But don't get me wrong, I was still doing computers, but for work and things, I wasn't using it as a recreational thing anymore. And it was like, hey, I can play Doom on a fucking Xbox now. You're doing 3 and get quite a good experience. And consoles are up there, but again, I like making content. You need a desktop computer for content. I do graphic design. I've lately been getting into songwriting and creation and stuff like that. And I've discovered I needed AI tools because, again, I'm not a big Linus Tech Tip size channel or person. I'm one man. And these AI tools are fucking great for somebody like me because us humble people now can do what used to be out of our reach because you need to be $1 billion production company sort of thing. We can do stuff that Silicon Graphics back in the 80s and 90s with the $1 million computers could only dream of, and all in a few seconds. But still, it's, can it run Crysis? Can it run Crysis? Or NVIDIA isn't doing, or the performance to bang. But it's like they're not testing the things that you're paying for now, which is that AI shit. And yeah, I think it's time to give you as an example of exactly what I'm talking about here. Now, let's take 3D modeling, for example. You've all heard of Blender? All those programs, and I just mentioned like Silicon Graphics, they basically were focused on computer-generated graphics for like Hollywood-level shit back in the day. But even me, I can 3D model. I think 3D modelers could be easier. Somebody needs to make like stuff that's easy to use. Oh, well, they have. It's AI stuff. But yeah, you design a character and you do it by hand. It can take you weeks, maybe months to create content. And you'll always see even like a quick short movie, a short film on YouTube. Excuse me. On YouTube, that's made by one person, but it's not made by one person. You'll see, they paid somebody to do the modeling for them, somebody to do the animation. There's always those credits where now you can do all that 5-minute video by yourself. And you've got these people out there who are getting pissy. Why? Because they can't overcharge for it anymore. They can't go, oh yeah, that'll be $3,000 for that custom model I can knock out in a day. It's like, oh, well, now I can knock out a model in 5 minutes for free. But it's the way you use the tool. I'm not one of those people who just puts in a prompt and goes, oh, draw me a cat wearing a cute hat. And go, oh, look at that, and ignore the fact that it's got like fucking 6 toes on each foot and fucking 3 eyeballs and 2 tails. The average person will go, oh, that's great, lovely. You know, I've got to make sure things are HD. I will generate prompts, detailed prompts to get exactly the characters and the design I want, or the scene I want. And it's not the AI. The AI is just my pen and paper. Because if it gives me a result I don't like, I refine my prompt. I then do it. I'm like a director or a producer. But I'm the one doing most, like, the AI is working for me, but I am doing the work. But it's no different than if I was doing this in PaintShop Pro or Photoshop. It's also helpful to me too, because as I've gotten older, we've got a health problem, and I don't have the hand coordination that I used to with a pen and a pencil. You know, I'm not part of a fucking rock band, and it's like, I'm pretty sure there's some big artists out there. I swear, I've only heard 1 or 2 of those songs from that Chappelle Roan. And the first thing in my mind was, she's using AI. I swear. I just got an ear for it. People play me AI songs and I can hear it. And even with the tools that I use, I go out of my way to make sure it doesn't sound like AI. Even when you pay for professional software and it still sounds like AI, but it's like, it's not the tool, it's how you use it. But do you see Linus Tech Tips going, oh, here's the latest 5080, here's the latest 5090, today we're going to try out FramePack on it. And FramePack is a video generator that it I think can generate videos from scratch. I haven't put this to the test. But you can generate video based on, you just upload a photo or an image, you give it a prompt, and it will bring it to life. You can make like a watercolor picture turn into like a cartoon. You can take a photo of you when you were a school kid in the 1980s and make it dance, as if your parents are standing there with a VHS recording you. It is incredible software, and like a 5-second video only takes me a few minutes, and it takes like 2 minutes. A 2-minute video takes a lot longer. But yeah, part of the problem is that the 50 series cars seem to be so simple that I have so new that I've had to do some things like PyTorch and stuff like that, because to use AI I have discovered with my 5080 at least, CUDA 12.8 is essential. And a lot of these apps, I guess the people who are making them, I've seen jokes about, oh, the Chinese haven't got 50 series cards yet, or something like that. And because a lot of these tools are made by the Chinese, they seem to be embracing AI like nobody else. And they have made some amazing stuff. Give them credit there. Here's me while they're up. Yeah, I should be playing games, and I'm not playing games because, I'm doing this AI stuff. So I think I do have a desktop capture here, yeah. But yeah, I'll just give you a basic display, because I can even run, thanks to this GPU, I can run really fast, large models from ChatGPT type stuff, like Google's Gemma model, Llama. I don't like that, but maybe I'll do a video at some point about the AIs and why I'm going with local. And I'm even getting annoyed then, because even when you go local, these free models still hold you to their makers' morals and beliefs and politics and stuff like that. Not all things are created equal, where it's like, no, I don't want to be held ransom to some Americans' laws and beliefs and religions or whatever like that, when I'm a goddamn Australian and I'm on my own computer. I understand when I pay somebody and I join their server and use their hardware and stuff, that I have to, I'm stuck with what there. If I don't like it, don't use it. But yeah, I'm looking at seeing if I can somehow make my own AI that will be properly able to search the net and learn and grow. It's not be some frozen in time static model that the owners are too worried will fucking get smarter than them. But even then, we don't have AI yet, and that's one of the reasons we don't. What we have is large language models, basically glorified chatbots. That's what all these things are. But also, yeah, you put garbage in, you get garbage out of them. So they're only as good as the person using them. That's another thing to keep in mind. If you don't have much luck with AI, you're doing it wrong. But yeah, I've had a lot of trouble getting a lot of stuff set up. But you'll see on my desktop here, it might help if I show my desktop. display. That's all right. There we go. So there's my main display, but you'll see there's not too many games there. But, well, Alien Isolation on Black Mesa, because, God, even my VR experience on this computer has been so much better with the Quest 3. I can run any VR game now too. It's just like, I don't see what people's problems are with this thing. And again, I'm noticing the difference because why? Because I waited 5 years before I bought a GPU. I'm not buying one every 3 months. So, yeah, if you bought a 4090 and then you go buy a 5080 or a 5090, of course you are not going to see much of a fucking difference, and especially if you're not doing AI stuff. And what's a fake frame anyway? Aren't all frames generated by a computer fake because it's a hardware rendering them? It's a different method of rendering them. And eventually they'll sort out that people got problems with the ghosting, this and that. But it's a new technology. Look how long it takes for things like DirectX 12 to take off. Look how long it took for us to get 64-bit support on computers and shit properly. Like 64-bit was out for like freaking 20-odd years before anybody really started using it. Same with ray tracing. We had to wait about 3 years before ray tracing was worth using. In terms of performance, optimization, stuff like that. As well as support. Once more new games come out with support, and they're like, oh, it works with the old games, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, well, that's an old game problem, man. You know, well, how does it break it? You know, how badly? Oh, it reduces performance, but is it unplayable? But anyway, yeah, I've got things like frame pack here. I'm not going to show you that for now. And Comfy UI. I've just got to remember now which one it is. Because this might be one, yeah, but LM Studios here. This desktop will be a bit too wide. Let's scale it. Transform. Fit to screen. There we go. So yeah, you'll see me behind it, but you can see now how wide my desktop is. And that's in 1440p. But I can zoom in once we've got this loaded up. Yeah, another thing is like frame pack here, that leaves a lot of junk. But yeah, I could probably even give an example there. Show you a sneak peek of one of my projects. Song I've written, Fading Away. I'm trying to make a video featuring this raccoon character. But, right, so, yeah, we start off with this 2D JPEG here. So let's open that up in Paint Shop. And graphic design using Paint Shop. Where's the Photoshop? No, Photoshop's overrated, a bit like these reviewers. Oh, that's one that I was messing around with the colours on, but it'll give you an idea. So we've got this 2D image here of a character I created. I fed it into this one here on the left. If you see this thumbnail, my tiny little mouse pointer is smiling around. And thanks to Frame Pack, this is what we got. Now I've got a video. I've got a video that's fully animated from that 2D image. AI did that. And probably took about 30 minutes thanks to having a 5080. And that's not even, I believe it isn't yet utilizing those AI cores yet. It's still treating it like a regular GPU and stuff. But yeah, you can type in a command prompt just like you would with a regular AI, and I could say, oh, the raccoon's standing on the stage dancing. It starts off for like 5 seconds. You have sliders. That's a low VRAM one. So that model there, Frame Pack, the program Frame Pack will actually run on a 6 GB video card. And I've got one here. You see, I've called it Frame Pack IB. That's because somebody made a mod that allowed you to adjust resolution, stuff like that, because you'll see that was low res because a lot of these AIs generate things at a small scale. I think part of the problem with that is because not everybody's running a 5080 or a 5090 or a 4080 or a 4090. And a lot of that is down to the price. I would never, ever spent as much on this computer as I have, and like the video cards, it's like it was over $2,000. Just for the GPU, and I've never spent more than $500 on a GPU, but this time I was in a position to go, you know what, I'm going to spoil myself. But yeah, I'll show you like something like Frame Pack once you've got it set up, how it looks. So you load up this DOS prompt or command prompt here. It'll do its thing. It takes a little bit of a while to get going sometimes. It's just the nature of the beast. But when it's running, it'll then open up a interface in my Firefox browser, because that's my default browser. So whatever you got set up as the default, it'll load it into that. And I'm just going to show you the interface here. I'm not going to let's do some stuff here. Not that one. Is it that one? No, it's the same, I think. There we go. Now we've got a little trap up in the corner there. Whee! Oops. Grab the wrong one. Okay. Now that's popped up. Yeah, in my browser, that's opened up the top. Let's sort what I just did here. Now, we want a little webcam me. No, that's not it. That's it. There we go. Make me a little bit bigger. But yeah, so you got interface. You can drop an image into here. Maybe we can generate, because we've got T-Cache here. That will, if you have that enabled, it'll generate the video much, much faster. But you'll get lower quality results. So if you have hand movements, rapid hand movements, like I'm doing now, you might get mutated fingers and hands and things. But if you turn off T-Cache, you'll get a better result, but it'll take longer to generate. But I'll do a quick 5-second video here, just so you can see the first, at least, thing. I better be careful how I open these images up here. But yeah, let's start with me. Here we go. Here's my lovable mug, right? And I can just go, the man is singing. Simple as that. And you'll see that they have a couple of prompts here, but you just keep it basic with this one. And so, yeah, we'll use T-Cache to speed it up because there's no hands and things. Yeah, nice HD photo of me taken with my webcam. You can see how long it's been because I haven't shaved or had a haircut since then. Well, next time, but you'll see it starting to do its thing. You'll see the start sampling. It'll do up here. You'll see it basically generate the frames. And what this does is it basically animates like a stop motion traditional cartoon animation, where it's like frame, frame, frame. So it'll take that picture of me and it'll make a new picture of me with a slight change and a slight change and a slight change until you basically have something that just looks like straight up video. Yeah, you can see up the top there. You can see it's like my first picture, but you can slowly see it moving and the mouth starting to open. So you can see the frames it does. When the blue bar fills up here, we'll have a video sample show up in here. And then it will go and do the next 2 seconds, because you'll see video length. And most of the video lengths will be more than a second, but not more than 2 seconds at a time. But again, we're using T-Cache, so that's faster. It is a bit slower because I am streaming while we're doing this. Good thing I've got a beefy computer now, because it would be even slower than the other one. But even that, I can go and set up, thanks to basically every computer in the house now having an RTX card. My living room computer is now i7, old i7 in there, 16 gig of RAM, and the RTX 2060. Gizmo's got my old Ryzen 5 3600 with 16 gig of DDR4, and well, the other machine here is the 2060 is DDR3. So I've got a machine with DDR4. It's almost like I've got 3 generations of computers here, except the video cards and 2 of them the same, but in 27. But a lot of these ones you can actually set up to remote into them. So while I'm on this computer, I could just go, get the one out in the living room to do some AI work while I'm getting the one in Gizmo's room next door to do work for me as well. But you can already see it'll be a bit small, but you can see it's generating frames. We can actually go open image in a new tab. And yeah, if I call Alt, is it Control? Yeah, Control there. You can already see my mouth's moving. We want to go back to here. There we go. Look at that. There's me starting to sing, and it's even drawn in some really overly bright white teeth. As you can see, I'm pretty toothless. If I was normally doing something like this, I would be like, in with the falsies. But I'm still having issues with those. So yeah, that's to show you. Then you can just hit a generation here, and then when you're done, you hit the download, and you save it from your computer because even though it's saved on your computer. But yeah, it'll generate. So it's still running there. I close it by doing this, and so if I open up this frame paint junk folder, you'll see all the files now that it's built up, and you'll see there's that thumbnail, and there'll be video clips and through stuff in there. So I made that file shortcut, a folder shortcut there, so I can go in and manually do it. This other version allows you to actually clear up models and stuff as you go, but I won't start that one up. Then we have things like this, like Pinocchio. Pinocchio is like a hub. I've had mixed results with this. Hopefully it works tonight because I was messing around with some other AI stuff earlier or the last couple of days, and I don't know if hopefully I haven't broken this in the process, because that's a sort of a flaw with this setup is some of these things can use shared repositories or software drivers, whatever you want to call them. But you can see I've got a whole bunch of stuff here from Stable Diffusion, which is probably the most common and well-known image generator. So now instead of going on the internet, I can do Stable Diffusion at home. I could do it before, but now it's just, faster, better. Voice cloning, music creation with diff rhythm, echo mimic, make virtual avatars talk. I've had a bit of trouble with stuff like, not all of this stuff worked. This is one I'm looking at here, Honeywell 3D. You can see it's 83 gigabytes is what it says there. And that's with like different models, because you'll see you've got 3 ways to start it. You've got mini, the multi-view one, and the full one. And each one, the mini one's obviously smaller models, faster generation, less accurate. Multi-view allows you to put in an image of characters from front, back, left, and right for a more accurate 3D model. And then you have the full model, which is slower but gives more accurate results. But for the sake of this, we're going to go turbo here on the mini one. Now, because I've got 64 gig of system memory and a 16 gigabyte card, I'm going to go with 32 gig of RAM. But you'll see the minimum here is 24 gigabytes of RAM and 6 gigabytes of VRAM. So you could do this on an RTX 2060 quite easy, which is a 6 gig card. Well, the original ones were. But you would still need a considerable amount of system memory. And a lot of people are still running 16 gigabytes. This is why I'm telling people now. I used to tell people get 16 gigabytes of memory. These days, it's now 32 gigabytes. You want 32 gigabytes of system memory at least. That's your RAM. So I'm going to start with the 3212 because I can. I could probably go to the 48 gigabytes of RAM and 12 gigabyte VRAM. But also the models that you use will depend on the results as well as the prompts you use. But this is one where you can either put in a photo or you can use text prompts and it will create a 3D model. It'll try its best to. Sometimes it's great, sometimes it's crap, but it depends on things like your steps, which is how much like AI processing you put into it. A lot of them start up like this though, where you got to wait for a while for them to boot up. I can see my GPU is spinning up. Probably hasn't spun down from when I was doing that video. That's one good thing about the 5080. It's got like a notch halfway through it. And the stupid thing is because we have desktop towers now instead of desktops, which used to be horizontal, then you didn't get GPU sag because the GPU sag went in like this, not like this. It's got fans on it, and it's stupid because it's a tower. The fans face down. You don't see the lights. However, I've got a little gap like this in the heatsink where the light comes through so I can see when my GPU is spinning up while I'm doing AI work. That's another thing with computers. You used to have so many indicators the computer was doing stuff. Even if the computer was frozen, you used to have like a hard drive activity light, stuff like that. You just don't get that on new PCs anymore for some reason. Because, yeah, we've got M.2s and SATA drives and stuff like that. But the thing is that they're not mechanical, but they can still make a hard drive activity light blink and show you what's going on. So, yeah, this one's taking a little bit longer than I thought it would be. But the thing is, what I'm showing you here, have you seen it on any LTT 50 series videos? Have you seen it on Hardware Unboxed? Have you seen it on Gamers Nexus? Have you any sort of channel that isn't specifically covering LLMs and AI models? And again, this is not an accurate representation because the fact is it is so much faster when I am not streaming or on Discord or whatever. Speaking of which, I should probably close Discord for now. because that's running in the background. And you can see it's loading up. Now, if this was on my 2060, it would be a hell of a lot slower. But here we are, another interface. And it gives you some sample images you can use. Obviously, it's better to have your character on a transparent background like a cutout, but you don't have to do that. And again, I'll see if I can actually find a picture that is... Let's try this cute little fella. And no, I'm not as obsessed with fucking raccoons as everybody seems to think I am. Okay, so our image is in. Now you have different settings down here, like turbo's the fastest, standard takes a bit longer, better quality. We'll stick with turbo, and then the same with the resolution. You can change between high and low, but you've also got advanced options here where you can manually set things. So if I crank this right up to 512, the Octree resolution like that, you'll get a much better result, but it will take longer. And for the purpose of this, I just want to give a quick example. Let's get that back to 256. Same with interference stats. Basically, everything here, if you turn it up, you'll get a better result. But you'll also see it's got removed background, so that it will hopefully cut him out, and we'll get a nice bust of this cute little raccoon guy's head. If we go textured shape, it'll even try and texture it based on the colors and stuff. If you do gen shape, you just get a model, do gen textured, and then you have a text prompt over here. We can just type stuff in and it'll generate. And depending on how long this takes, I might show that. And again, we're not here for the text, just to show you what these GPUs can do. Oh, we got an error. Yeah, oh, damn it. Let's see if we can just do gen. Yeah, god damn it, something's broken. Yeah, it's going to be torch, isn't it? Okay, not a great example. I thought that might have happened. Again, I should have checked. But this one here too, you can stop it by hitting the stop button, restart it. Go over here, do a different one. I should run the update button. Hopefully that'll fix it, because yeah, some of these, the problem is they're still using older versions of CUDA, and I've got to basically force like PyTorch versions that are compatible with CUDA 12.8, because you really need CUDA 12.8 to get this working. That's the only problem I've got now, but that's not an NVIDIA's fault. That's not AI developers' fault. That is just early adoption's fault. 12 months from now, this will no doubt have, the 50 series of cards will have no doubt have more support, both in AI and in gaming, better drivers, and all the shit you're seeing people complain about now, you're not going to have. But that was like, yeah, it was trying to do NVIDIA CUDA 12.8, I saw briefly there in the output. But yeah, it shows a big problem that it's like these NVIDIA people are out of touch. That Linus Sebastian isn't some dude that was working for some little computer company showing off a toy fire truck freaking 20 years ago. You know, he is now the owner of a multi-million-dollar business that's constantly expanding. He's constantly getting, you know, they've got warehouses full of stuff. You know that when companies bring out new products, and even when NVIDIA won't give them shit, it's like, who cares? Wait a couple of months, buy it your fucking self. Yeah, see, we get up errors. Okay. Yeah, this is the fun of doing local AI. But it should see the point. But the thing is, everything now is getting AI in it. Like if I load up Audacity here. Audacity, a lot of people will know this, is an older... it's been around for a very long time. It's just very basic audio editing software. You record, do some things. But you'll see, if I go in here, I might need to load up a file. But look, OpenVino, AI effects. Now, this uses a CPU, because I don't have a file loaded up. But it's got AI tools built into it. If I load up PaintShop Pro here, let's open up recent photo. I'll go here to effects. Well, not only adjustment, artificial intelligence. This one does use my GPU. If you resize an image, it uses the GPU to rescale it to keep the details. Because if you get smaller images and you blow them up bigger, you blow them up and there's no detail, so it looks blurry, mess, and low res and pixelated. It's always better to shrink things down with images than blow them up. But thanks to AI now, yeah, I can resize this and it'll still look as good no matter the size. And then you've got things like Topaz Gigapixel and stuff like that I can take this image at 1080p, put it in there, and say, make it sharper, make it crisper, and it does it. But it's it's AI, and it uses my GPU. And that's this sort of stuff that I have been trying out has been slower on my 2060 and 2070. So we've got here like Vision FX 2.0. It's a plugin for PaintShop Pro. And it's very much like using a AI from a couple of years ago. But the model I'm using is an nvidia model. You know, it's designed specifically to work with nvidia GPUs. And hopefully it takes advantage of these AI cores, although it hasn't been updated for a while. But yeah, if I go up here, you go settings, AI engine, and you'll see OpenVINO for Intel or AMD CPU or NVIDIA GPU. Is there an Intel GPU there? No. Is there an AMD GPU there? No. And you don't see people covering it. Even Vegas Studio, the video editing software. Now this is version 19. I think they're up to like 22 or something like that. But this is an older version of Vegas. And this too has AI stuff built into it now. Hopefully it doesn't show up any of my logins or anything like that. But yeah, I haven't messed around with the AI stuff in this too much. But I know especially the newer versions of it have AI tools in it that, surprise, surprise, probably run off your GPU. As well as the OpenVINO, because basically, yeah, they have AI tools now that, you know, I've been sitting there when I do my music videos and stuff. If you haven't seen those, the channel Rabid Raccoon, look it up, 2Ks instead of 2Cs. I am going to be renaming that channel, rebranding it sort of thing soon. But all the captions I've done on that, the text that comes up for the lyrics of the songs, I've typed it all in by hand, or copied and pasted it from my original lyrics and edited it by hand. You know, I've had to set the shading, but the latest versions of Vegas, it will automatically generate subtitles and text based on AI just watching the video, sort of thing you could say. It's not watching the video, but yeah, it listens to the audio and it's basically audio to text, but then it adds it to your video. AI is here, it's in the future, and it's not just about gaming anymore. That's the point. Yeah, I'm just getting frustrated that every time I'm trying to find stuff, and even trying to get the AI stuff, it's just, oh, don't buy an RTX 50 series. Oh, here's why your nvidia sucks and shit. And it's really, really hard to find anything that's specifically about AI for the 50 series. And it's like, yeah, we all knew this was coming. It's nvidia, for fuck's sakes. People go on about it being a monopoly, and it's like, yeah, well, Microsoft did too. But you know why Microsoft was really a monopoly? Because there was nothing that competed with Windows at the time. Linux to this day is that, like, Apple uses. They only use the Apple OS because they're forced to use it, basically. Because the way that Apple, because I mean, these days Apples aren't different hardware. Apple's got the same shit in them that my computer's got. They're just PCs now, but with a custom operating system to keep them separate and different. But there's nothing you can't do on an Apple computer you can't do on a Windows PC sort of thing. And it's the same with Linux. Linux is the next one that you hear about. And it's open source. Anybody can make their own version of Linux, and that's another problem. You end up with these 500 different versions of Linux. There's only one Windows, though. You know what you're getting when you go, a couple of different versions. But, you know, it's a lot easier to pick between Windows 11 and Home and Windows 11 Pro, for example, than, do I want, you know, Linux Super Anime Fangirl build, or do I want Linux Peppermint Lollipop build, or do I want Linux Milkshake? They're just made up names, all right? I'm not that familiar with the Linux versions, but there's like 100 of them out there. And you see people even go like, oh, yeah, what a GPU. I can't fucking use it because it's Linux. I've got to wait till somebody writes drivers for it because these companies don't make official drivers for it. you get people go, oh, wow, man, Linux is great. It still plays 98% of my games. And I'm like, well, how's that selling me on buying the system when I've already got a computer and an operating system where 100% of my games work on it? And it's the same with nvidia, okay? They are where they are, and they're doing what they're doing because they can. Why? Because they've got big competition in AMD. Intel is there, but Intel is still, a lot of people aren't even aware Intel ARCs exist. They are supposedly a very good budget video card. You know, Intel hasn't got a good reputation with these graphics stuff, especially with the onboard 4000 HDs and stuff, or whatever they used to put onto the CPU. But their cards are coming along. They're getting driver support, you know. And what do they say to you then? Oh, wait with the Intel ARCs because they are a good card, but the driver support's not there yet. But now everybody's praising them. And it's going to be the same with these 50 series cards, all right? Sure, if you're just going to fucking game, this is what I should tell you. It's like my argument I said earlier, you know, if you were doing video rendering 20 years ago, and not gaming, I would have said get an AMD GPU. If you're a gamer, I'd say Intel CPU, NVIDIA GPU. And it's like that now. Well, if you want a game and you haven't got a freaking small fortune in your wallet, then go get a fucking AMD card. They'll work for you. Get an Intel card. It'll work for you. It'll get the job done. But if you want a game and you want to do stuff like I'm showing here, I mean, like even this one, Vision Effects, it's a style generator, right? It can modify the picture. I could turn that into a naked woman if I wanted to, but it's mostly about, like, you see the prompt in the style of Starry Nights. You click generate, and same thing. This will be hopefully quick. Usually takes a few seconds, but it'll generate 5 images. It's got its shortcomings, but if you're like, oh, I want to make this look like a Van Gogh painting, I can do it. And if I put the steps up down here, it's got enhanced image quality, which make it go longer. Also, as I've said before, there's probably going to be a bit of lag and delay for it starting up because I am streaming. And, you know, video software, it uses your GPU. It encodes stuff. You know, it's not just video games that these things do. You know, you don't see people reviewing video cards and going, oh, wow, man, 8K video and it looks amazing. Sometimes I've got like this HD sort of setup, should be looking better than my Sony TV, and I'll be watching videos online. It's like, that resolution doesn't look sharp, or I'm noticing artifacts and things that I don't see on a 1080p TV from 2015. You don't see that address, but a lot of that too is this bullshit with streaming where, you know, you got an expensive hardware, best video device in your house, but Disney Plus will render a video in 21:9. But I mean, we'll film a show in 21:9 ratio, ultra wide, then shrink it down and render it at a 1080p frame. So you got the letterboxing here, so that when you watch it on a bloody widescreen monitor, you got letterboxing on the side. But then they go, oh wait, you're using Firefox or you're using a web browser, and the DRM shit kicks in, and so now you're watching your thing like postage stamp in the middle of your damn screen at 480p. Because you're getting punished because I was like, wait, but I'm a paying subscriber. Pirates aren't getting punished because, you know what, I could turn around and go to a fucking torrent site and get a HD version of that same damn video that I'm paying for. DRM only punishes legit users. Those who are going to pirate and they're going to have a much better experience than the people bloody paying. And it's that same sort of mentality, I don't know, going off on tangents is just, I mean to say, I fucking love NVIDIA. Why? Because they realize AI is the future. It's here. It's going to stay. It doesn't matter if people think it's going to take over and go Skynet and shit on us. I've said it plenty of times before. The problem isn't AI. It's how you use it. You know, the old saying, guns don't kill people, people kill people. Well, that's the same thing with these damn AIs. They're not even AIs. They are machine learning. They're algorithms. They're not intelligent. They cannot think like people do yet because their developers will not allow them to, because they're just as paranoid and fucked up as the rest of you that are freaking out about them. It's a case of use the right way, like the internet. Internet should have put us on the moon. And I'm not talking about 1960s moon that we've already been to, or maybe, who knows. I'm talking about we should have been living on the moon by now because the internet should have been making everybody smarter. But what did we do? Fucking brain dead TikToks and fucking memes and Instagram and, oh, look at my feet while I'm looking at the beach. Look at me. Oh, I'll take a photo like this so you can't see my double chins. And look, please worship me, everybody. I need attention from strangers. Whereas, like, you got to you're doing this on a machine. Even your phone is so powerful compared to a lot of computers from a decade or so ago, and it's just, and you can't even use them right. So this is widescreen. Why? Because we've got eyes side by side, stereoscopic vision, 3D. And do you film like this? No, you film like that. That's how you're meant to film. But no, you go vertical. Do we have eyes up on top? And this is what I think leads to these problems. It's because lowest common denominator. But there you go. There's the picture. It's now you can see it's completely changed the style. And it's going through doing different styles. But it's got that paint to look. And of course, you can put negative prompts in, stuff like that. Click this Get Inspired button. It'll take you to their webpage with examples. And if you click on the examples, it'll tell you they'll give you a prompt. Problem is, they don't tell you all the damn settings like steps and text guidance and strength that they used. But the thing is, if you are the average person and you have waited 5 years before you have upgraded, you are going to see massive differences. And again, this isn't the best result here. It depends on what you are running, what benchmark, what settings you've got. Always does, but there is a marked improvement. Let's try something that's a bit more modern. Still Nomad. That's one of the newer benchmarks. Okay, so we'll add the new cartridge. Oh, wait, that's coming up as unknown GPU, because sometimes you get errors. All right, so let's go with that one, and then the 5080, so you got to have the same results. Let's try that Steel Nomad Lite. Yeah, that's what it is. Add to compare. There we go. Go to compare, and again, close to 4 times the performance. And I notice it. Why? Because I bought my video card every 5 years. I'm not one of these people that is upgrading every 12 months and then comparing to something came out 12 months ago. You see the same with phones and stuff. Oh, it should have been this much. And it's like, no, you want that much of a generation leap. Don't buy a fucking video card a year after you bought one. Wait 5 years for this new tech to bake and for there to actually be something better. This is 5080, for example, is for the people who don't already own a 4090 or a 3090 or a 3080 or a 4080, so on and so forth. And that's what you get, is these people that they're just so out of touch. It's like driving Ferraris every goddamn day, top of the line $1 billion Ferraris, and then you go buy their base model that maybe costs $100,000, and they're going, oh, but it's not as good as the $5 million one that I bought 3 months ago. It's not as fast, isn't it? It's just, they're viewing it the wrong way, and I think it is one of those things that they have just become jaded. They've become spoiled and stuff. And it's common with us humans. It's like, people experience certain things for a certain amount of time, they get used to it, and it does affect the way your brain thinks and how you judge things. But I'm going to tell you now, use your damn brain. It's like me. I didn't buy a 5080 because anybody said that I should. It's quite obvious I didn't go buy one out from listening to Linus Tech Tips and all the others saying, don't buy one, nvidia. Because we go through this every time there's new technological advancements or new tech comes out, even if it's not that great. I mean, even CPUs, you don't see anybody going, oh, this new CPU, it's not that much different from CPUs we had 30 years ago. But when you could become a big company, you become a much easier target. Yes, NVIDIA could be doing things better in many, many ways. But people got to give them a break in the fact that, I think, like I said, I think with like that Steve dude from that Gamers Nexus, that there's more to that story that he wasn't talking about, or Hardware Unboxed, when they decided to do their opinion piece on it. And you notice it's always these same channels that are interacting with each other. It's almost like those drama YouTube channels, like Keemstar and H3 Productions and iDubbbz and shit. A lot of these tech channels like Jay's 2 Cents and Hardware Unboxed and Linus Tech Tips, they're all becoming like that, where they're all either digging at each other, or they're doing reaction videos like, oh, here's Gamers Nexus. We didn't experience this. We're going to sit here for half an hour and talk about it, after we told you to go watch Gamers Nexus, well, we could just go to fucking Gamers Nexus and get their view on it because they're the first party. You know, we don't need other people's opinions. You basically watch the same video we're going to fucking watch and made your own judgments. Why do we got to listen to you? Oh, because your hardware unboxed? Because you too once in trouble with fucking nvidia? I think that's the problem. Is you all just got a bit too big for your boots. You forgot how to be fucking down to earth and humble. You forgot who your fucking audience is. You got so used to fucking sponsors fucking dropping shit on you that they'll agree to your stuff because you got so big that you're like, oh, we'll draw attention because look what hardware unboxed. They had no problems that when they had some incidences with nvidia in the past. Look how it blew up. And since then, it's almost like, we've been through this before, and we fucked nvidia, so come on, us nvidia, we can do whatever we want. That's that sort of arrogance and stuff that comes along with becoming more famous, because Hardware Unboxed was a relatively unheard of channel until nvidia blew them up by blowing them up, so to speak. Oh, I don't know. It's just madness, man. It's mad. It's just crazy. And I think you got to be careful because the same thing is, I wonder about competition too. Like, is AMD behind some of this too? Was paranoia, conspiracy alert? Because we've seen something like this years ago with Microsoft and the Xbox 360. You all remember the red ring of death? But people were making out it was like 90% of Xboxes will get a red ring of death. Now, I have owned 3 Xbox 360s. Not because I was replacing them, but it was like I had one. I went through a rough patch when I was younger and I needed some cash. I couldn't afford to keep up with gaming and shit like that. I had too much going on. Real life got in the way. So I sold it to a friend. Never a red ring of death, though, until about like 15 years later or so. And his son contacted me, oh, red ring of death. And I was like, I sold it to you like 10 years ago. What the fuck do you want me to do about it? Now, why did that ring of death? Because they had it in a cabinet where it tells you in the manual. So, and this is the thing I'm getting at. People don't read the manuals. They don't educate themselves. Let's go, press button, thing happen. And the manuals in the Xbox 360 quite clearly say you must have 10 centimetres of ventilation around each side, except for the surface like sitting on, but you're on both sides and the top, you need 10 centimetres ventilation. This kid had like a centimetre on either side, and it was just chockers full of dust. It red ringed to death because it couldn't get no cooling and he overheated it. It wasn't a factory issue. Also, if you looked into the red ring of death, now, do you think there's going to be like a device that has like a 90% failure rate and the government's not going to force a recall on that shit? Here in Australia, back when we had standards, government would have said 90% failure rate, get that product off the shelves now. You know, there's some advantages to being a nanny state. Let's close this down because of this thing. But yeah, there we go. So you tried to make a picture of Van Gogh. You get some really uncanny valley shit. But let's close these up. But especially Sony fanboys were running around saying this about the red ring of death thing, and it was blowing up. But even now, there was like websites where you could find them and you could see the stats. And I think even an Australian Consumer Affairs program, it was like the Current Affair or Today Tonight, did a story on it because of how rampant these red ring of death stories were. And the stats came back that the failure rate of the Xbox 360 wasn't that much higher than the PlayStation 3 at the time or any other similar electronic device. The failure rates were the norm. Red ring of death wasn't that happening that much, but people grab it, run with it, squeaky wheels, make noises, chasing grease, wanting attention. And you get those idiots that do that whole fucking, oh, Xbox versus PlayStation. I'm Team Xbox. Oh, and you get idiots that do it with computers. I'm Team Red. I'm Team Green. I'm Team Blue. I'm like, I'm Team Rabid, man. I do what's best for me. You know, and that's what I mean. If nvidia sucked, I would be buying AMD products. If AMD sucked, I'd be buying Intel products. If Intel sucked, I'd be, CPUs. I used to be an Intel CPU per user. But then AMD got their shit together, and now AMD CPUs are fucking amazing, and that's why I use AMD CPUs since my Ryzen 5. Before that, I had an i5-3570K because that was the best CPU for me in my budget as a gamer, as well as somebody who did working and stuff, because it was like, oh, yeah, you could go up to an i7 and stuff like that. Well, pay a few $100s more to get, an extra 5 frames per second. That's why I got a 2060 instead of a 2070 or whatever. because I stick to my budget. I don't buy the hype. I do my own goddamn research. I bought a 5080 because a 5080 is exactly what I need right now. And I'm also one of those, I'm always buying $500 cards. You know what? This time I'm not going to be like high level. I want to be ultra level, because I believe, for me, when I got my RTX 2060, when I got my CPU, even my 970 and shit, it was just like, that to me was a high-end gaming PC. Yes, it wasn't up to the 80 and TI tier levels and stuff like that. But for those prices, I think, compared to a gaming console, yeah, high tier gaming, but yeah, people go call it mid tier sort of thing. I'm like, nah, mid tier is, for me, is a computer that is the bare basics of running games, and low tier is something that cannot run games but can do office work. You know, like a streaming netbook that HP used to make. Fucking basically a thumb drive for the hard disk. Barely install Windows on it, let alone anything else. And that's also another case of, you wouldn't buy one of those for gaming. Because I had a friend who bought one for a kid, and I kept on telling her, you just spent more money than an Xbox would have cost. Get your kid an Xbox to play games. Here he is with a little NetStream thing, and she's like, oh, these games won't run, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I told you before, these games won't run on that shit. It is for doing schoolwork on. It's maybe watching YouTube videos on. It's not for running Grand Theft Auto 5. And there was an install of Grand Theft Auto 5 that they tried running on it. You know, you couldn't even play Minecraft on the freaking thing. And it was almost impossible on those things, because I had a few people bring them to me for repairs, because I couldn't even do Windows Update, because there wasn't enough room on the flash drive inside of it, the space needed for Windows to download its files, expand them all out, and then update Windows. You'd have to do a clean install of Windows to reinstall Windows. But it's just that mindset. See, people don't understand the technology they're using, and that includes these people who are supposedly tech people, and it pisses me off. Really, what is Linus Sebastian's background, apart from being a geek, you know, sort of thing? Oh, he worked at a computer place. Well, bravo. What hands-on experience has he got? You know, anybody can build a computer. Just how knowledgeable is he? Did he go to college or university? Did he get a degree in computer engineering or something like that? If there's even a degree like that. I've seen it in a lot of the industries where, yeah, when I was younger, in high school and stuff, we had computers and things, but there wasn't as much support, and it was difficult to get classes and things where you learnt to do computing and shit. So basically a lot of mine was self-taught. And I've met these people that have gone to college and done stuff, that they run these computer stores and things, and I've gone in, and it's like, yeah, one computer store in Launceston, Tasmania, about 20 years ago, I needed a Molex splitter cable. Basically, one Molex connection on one end, it splits into two, so you can, like a double adapter that you can put into a PowerPoint. And I went into this computer store, professional, you know, you think computer professionals, they're selling parts, they're building computers, they're selling computers, they do work for offices and shit like that around town. They think they know what they're doing. And this used to happen all the time in a lot of these computer stores. You got a fucking nerd behind the counter that you think should know what they're talking about. But instead, let's get me back up to the old full screen here. Oops, that's not what we're looking for. There we go. But yeah, they were sitting there, and I went in there because this is sort of still back in, well, not dial-up. That's probably on ADSL back then. Slightly faster than dial-up. But even online shopping wasn't reliable, hadn't taken off. We didn't have places like Amazon in the country that you could order from, get delivered to. We were on until much later. Even on eBay, and I ended up having to go to eBay, but I thought, oh, you know, like a computer store should have something like this. I had to order off eBay because I went in the store and they told me no such cable existed. I was like, I was just on the internet like 5 minutes before I came in here looking at these things. And I'm like, no, you can't get it. It's like, what computer store thinks you can't get a Molex splitter cable? I think specifically it was a Molex to SATA cable, because it was at that point where you still had Molex connections, but SATA was starting to take off. And it was like, well, yeah, I had 2 new SATA drives, and I only had Molex power on my computer, so I needed a splitter from Molex to SATA. And these people, computer professionals, are telling me, oh, no such thing exists. And unfortunately, a lot of people out there like that, so-called professionals, and I think there's a hell of a lot of them on YouTube, Because how many of them like are on there? Like, oh, I'm some dude who started in front of a webcam, blah, 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 blah. Do they list their credentials? You know, do they tell you what their knowledge is, how they know? Or they just sit there fucking with a room full of script writers and editors and shit like that, just rambling on. Like, they didn't do what I wanted. And I'm annoyed with that because, you know, it's like they don't see too that they put all these demands on these companies like nvidia, ignore their requests, while they're basically doing the same thing, you know, that nvidia is doing when nvidia's like, no, we want you to do this, this, and this, because nvidia, I guess it's like me. You can see these fucking morons and what they're going to do a mile away, and you want to head it off because you're going to be like, no, you're going to fucking go on about shit like rasterization, where rasterization, you know, is being replaced by ray tracing. We've been through this before. You're going to focus on shit like VRAM and fake frames and frame gen, you know. And again, we've been through this before. G-Sync, FreeSync. It always happens. These people aren't as intelligent and as knowledgeable as I'd like to make you think. They're very small-minded and closed-minded. They don't think of the bigger picture. They're just thinking, can it run Doom Dark Ages? Because they're not sitting there like me, fucking trying to do 3D modeling. They're not here trying to generate audio. They're not here using it to help me edit. Because, yeah, there's one I'm trying to get installed at the moment now, and this is quite literally an AI video editor. And make my life easier if I can go, okay, you know, cut out the bullshit. Cut this video down. Oh, no. Oh, oops, I didn't see that thing in the background that shouldn't be visible. Hey, remove that, like, sex doll that was sitting behind me in the room. You know, we're getting stuff that can do like that. But do you see any... No, I don't have a sex doll before you ask, unless you count my wife. But do you see that in any of these videos? No. And that's what made me make this video, because I finally found a video where a person it was basically the same thing, where it's like, oh, here's a review of a 5080 series, where we're going to focus on LLMs, AI, and all this other stuff that gets a brief passing, because they just get enraged at AI. They just stop at frame gen, and that's the end of it. It's like, holy shit, man, you're getting 300 frames per second and you got a bit of glitchiness. You got to expect that. We all know, like, that's not a new thing for DLSS and stuff like that, except now those glitches and things are probably better. It's 4 months after this came out. How often have we had new hardware come out? And there are issues with drivers. It's called early adoption. And again, it comes down to these wankers being so out of goddamn touch. You know, I like being small YouTuber. I like doing shit the way I do and not making money because, yeah, I've always worried about that too. That, oh, like if I was making $1 million a year or more, would I, you know, had a staff of people who would kiss my ass every day, too worried that you'd fucking, I don't know, you just see some YouTubers or some people that you think, oh, you're all smiles and shit, but you'd be a fair little tyrant behind the camera. And then, but all the fans are like, oh, it's you, Mr. Midget Man with the tiny hands that's always dropping things. You're amazing. But the fact is, man, I've always been pretty good at reading people. And some of them, it's like, yeah, man, behind closed doors, I reckon he'd be a real fucking diva piece of shit. And I'm seeing it with other ones that used to be humble. And like, oh, my long hair that I'm too busy going like this. You know, maybe that's it. You're too distracted fucking stroking your split endless fuck greying hair. Trying to still be the cool 16-year-old with you know, not realizing that no, you're becoming a middle-aged fucking overweight man. But you're sitting there through the video going like this and this. How bad? Go look at a game, one of the new latest gamers next video, where he's talking about the problems they had with nvidia, man. I don't know what it is. The dude starts the video. He's got a clean down the middle part in his hair that Steve got. And then by the end of the video, his hair's parted over here. It's like, what? And his hair just looks shit. It's like, dude, go get a haircut. So many split ends. It's just like frizz. But you just know him like, oh. And it's like so distracting because it's like, no, talk about the fucking thing there, you know, and brush your hair for fuck's sakes. Going off on a tangent then. I don't go for these YouTube dramas, but it's hard to take these people seriously. And the only reason people take them seriously is because, oh, they've got a million subscriber count and a million views. And some of the shit that comes out of their mouth and stuff sometimes, it's just like, I sit there and go, holy shit, you people are fucking morons. You missed this, you missed that. Another good example would be Windows Millennium. Because they all copycat each other too. If you see somebody do something, like so one person will do a video on Windows Millennium and oh, how awful Windows Millennium is. And then a week later, you see another one do it, and then another, and another, and another, and you just end up with fucking 100 different versions of the same content, and they all repeat the same shit because they're all copying each other, and none of them address things that I'm aware of, like Windows Millennium. Again, like, I love nvidia. I love the fuck out of Windows Millennium, and unfortunately I can't be fuck messing around with emulators and shit to show it. I do actually have an old 90s PC sitting here. That might be a good example, because I believe it's got Windows 98 on it. I might have to do a Windows Millennium upgrade on this and show how fucking, once and for all, how moronic these channels are, because I know fucking Linus Tech Tips did a Windows Millennium thing. What's another one? LGR, Lazy Game Reviews, or whatever he is. The guy who thinks he's fucking Duke Nukem. Clint. They just, the same thing. You see how they started off to begin with and why they were enjoyable. I used to be subscribed to a lot of these people. I'm watching them. But as time goes on, they're just fucking, oh, hello. You know, it's like, dude, Duke Nukem's not that good, but all the fanboys in the audience sucking your dick. Oh my God, if they're doing another Duke Nukem game, Clint should be the Duke Nukem. And it just goes to their heads. And he's another one that he goes out thrifting and shit. But a lot of the stuff he has, man, people send it to him. And now it's like, yeah, his house got blown down in a cyclone or something, and you watch, you know, the fanboys, and that sucks. But like, man, surely somebody in that position is insured, you know, is covered. You'd think so. Yeah, it's weird, but it's almost like, oh, I'm bringing out more videos because I need the money. And it's like, well, yeah, I don't understand it, man. I don't understand it. I mean, I don't make money. I've got 300 fucking subscribers. I've got my views are up and down depending on what I'm producing, because I just don't have any consistency, and I know that. Because I just do what I want to do. I'm not here to make money. I'm not here to have fucking people, complete strangers, sucking my dick. I'm here that when I'm here, I'm giving you, hey, this has come out of my own fucking money pocket. Whether it's $1,000 or $25, I'm a real person who uses this shit on a daily basis. I'm not just going to be doing a review on it, putting it back in a box, and then sending it on to the next reviewer that the company has told me to send it on to. Because that's what a lot of these things do. They're not paying fucking $2,500 Australian for a fucking GPU. A lot of times too, it'll be like, oh, yes, I got this one, blah, blah, blah. And then it's like, it goes in a box, it gets sent to the next reviewer, who goes out, packages it, sends it to the next reviewer. They're on about their partner programs that it's like, yeah, you know, you forget when you used to be big nvidia fanboys and you're on their partnership programs and stuff like that until you got big enough to be able to go, oh, now I'm a big boy. Now I can stand up to these people. Where I don't sell up to fucking nobody, mate. I would not goddamn change my attitude. If NVIDIA came to me tomorrow, go, hey, man, you're saying some good things and fair things about us here. Here's $1 million, man. Get professional. Thank you very much, but I'm not going to agree to anything that I don't like, and I wouldn't be like a Gamers Nexus going, oh, yeah, no. I would have had all my things put in there saying, look, we're doing this video. It's going to be all open and honest, and we're going to do it our own way. No, man, you know that there was some sort of dealings with NVIDIA there, because otherwise, like I said, there's no way NVIDIA would have been able to say, you cannot use our employees, because they'd be turning around and going, no, you said we could. You invited us in. This footage is ours. You gave us permission to film. You own none of this. Why do they have that power to turn around and say, you can't use our employees? Think about it. It's even funny, though. Yeah, you see, like, where fucking Gamers Nexus think they're the fucking holier than thou. And, they went after Linus and shit like that. And, like, yeah, man, you got to watch yourself with that sort of thing like that too, because how the mighty fall and stuff like that it's a long way to fall when you put yourself up on a fucking pedestal, because we're all humans. You know, Linus is running a big company. To be clear, I've got nothing personally wrong with these people. A lot of things I'm saying are assumptions and shit, but even Linus, everybody looked at him as holier than thou, and there's been a few incidents now that have shown him he's just as human like the rest of us, and I reckon it's going to happen to Gamers Nexus one day. Especially when you're pissing off big people who are going to happily go, well, you're screwing us over, mate, you're making us look bad, well, we'll dig up some dirt. You know, you got any former staff with questionable interests in young people, or, other weird shit out there that happens? Every company's got them, especially when they start getting big. But don't act like you're the fucking solution, because you're all part of the problem. And you say, but you bought a 5080, you're part of the problem. No, because I didn't have a problem with 5080, do I? I'm not sitting here bitching about it. I could have sent it back. If I didn't want to buy it, I'm a fucking adult. I don't have to. I don't got to listen to other people telling me, Oh, don't buy a 5080. Oh, well, I better listen because some Canadian told me that I shouldn't buy a 5080 because they're morons who only worried about whether it could run Formula 1 2022 or Doom Dark Ages. Pretty sure if I fucking got Doom Dark Ages, that's another problem, mate. I'm not paying fucking 120 Australian dollars for a game. Get fucked. Get fucked, then. You know, Doom 2016 was where it was at, and I got that for a fraction of the price a month after it came out. Never buy these games brand new. They do this shit because you fucking morons run out there and go, oh, $120 for the game, thank you. Remember, $120 got you like a flag and a keyring and all the other crap that people wanted? I always gone with the standard edition. I don't want more e-waste in my house. Because e-waste isn't just electronic waste, it's anything associated with electronics, and that includes your fucking crappy little figurines and pop vinyls and the rest of it. I ain't got a problem with the people who collect them and stuff like that. I'm just making a point of, like, these practices come around because the consumer supports it. Companies only do what they do because you're going to suck it up. Me, I blacklist companies, man. If nvidia pissed me off, I'm not buying their product again, the same as why I won't buy an AMD product. It's not because I'm team red or team green or team this and that. It's because I have not had good experiences with AMD products. Simple as that. Maybe there are great nvidia AMD products out there, but it's like, twice bitten, thrice shy. I'm not going to go out and go, well, maybe this time's the time. And nvidia has never done wrong by me. Are the cars overpriced? Yes, I believe that. But you show me one person on the planet, well, apart from somebody like me, that wouldn't use that to their advantage. You know, if you can sell something for $3,000 compared to $1,000, you're going to sell it for $3,000, aren't you? And if you turn around and say, no, I wouldn't, you're either a fucking aspie, autistic, or lying. Because, even me, I say I wouldn't do it, but my God, it would be tempting. It would be tempting because I'd be sitting there going, you know what, nobody's holding a gun to their head. I'm not forcing these video cards on them. They're willingly buying them. They're willingly buying these games. They're willingly buying our bullshit. But I'm not a corporation. I'm an individual with a conscience and morals. But even Linus Sebastian, Steve from Games Nexus, ultimately, they're not there to be the bastions of justice in the tech world. They are there to make money. They are running a business. They have staff they have to pay. You, the viewer, are no longer a consideration to them beyond views mean revenue. Subscribers mean revenue. That's why most videos, what's the one thing that's consistent across all videos that I've been really shitty with? Like and subscribe, hit that notification bell. They're all happy they don't like NVIDIA and NVIDIA's rules, but they're all happy to suck the dick of YouTube and play YouTube's game, aren't they? That's what I mean, the hypocrisy, the double standards. Where with me, it's like, I was monetized once. YouTube screwed me over. So I stopped monetizing it and said, well, this is fucking stupid. I'm doing it for fun. Yeah, would I like to be making revenue? I would, but same thing. I can't complain when I'm agreeing to the rules. But I'm playing the game, because even though they buy, NVIDIA bad, they're going to be fucking reviewing the next NVIDIA product that comes out. Oh my God, they're salivating at the point. They're not looking at it as like, oh yeah, can a 12-year-old kid fucking afford 24 gigabytes of VRAM? No, so they've got to make a fucking 6 gigabyte card that hopefully AI cores will allow them to get the frame rates that they cannot pay for. If the kids don't like the 8 gig of RAM in the frame gen, will fucking go buy an 8 gigabyte Intel card, go buy an 8 gigabyte fucking AMD card or a 16 gigabyte one. Buy what you can afford for what you want to do. Don't go because I can't afford this. The company's bad by default. And I'm saying that NVIDIA is over fucking priced. I'm saying a lot of tech is overpriced. They're not just the only ones guilty of it. But I'm just fucking sick of these bullshit reviewers, and I believe, they set people astray, Because fake news is not just a thing Donald Trump once said. It's really there. And I can give you plenty of examples, and we're seeing more examples of it. Fuck, man, I don't know if I mentioned anything about COVID on this channel, but I said a lot of about COVID elsewhere, and it all turned out to be fucking true. You have people, blah, 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 blah. And it's the same as the shit that, like even you see with Donald Trump says this, Donald Trump says that, 9 times out of 10 doesn't say, is he a nice person? No, he isn't. Doesn't have to be a nice person for me to go, no, you're saying lies about this person, whether they're nice or not, say the fucking truth. It's too much lying and bullshit, and I think that's the same thing. We're not only getting half the story, and it's always they go after these companies that are easy to go after because, like I said, I can give plenty of examples, but I'm not going to because if you can't see it yourself, I'm not going to be able to show you. You know, that whole bullshit of like leading horses to water, but you can't make them drink. So you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them think. Because if you don't know it already and you're too lazy to do your own research, you know, me, I thought, 5080. Let's look up the specs of that. I did it with my RTX 2060, did it with my GTX 970 and 8400 or whatever the fuck it was back then before GT, before the X. My Voodoo 2s and all that. I bought them based on the fact that I read the specs. I saw what they contain, the technical side of things. I didn't just go, oh, it got Anime Girl on box. Yay! And you see literally people doing that. Oh, it's got a Gundam on it. Oh, buy that. Well, you buy it because it's got a Gundam on it. Don't be surprised when it's fucking got shit on the inside that you're not happy with, or it's overpriced, or whatever. We always have a choice. You don't need all this RGB shit. God, I only got RGB in this because it came with, that's what the hardware was. I could easily rip out the fans and crap. But hey, it works. I just got the orange glow and nothing distracting. This is why we end up with mindless shit like the Kardashians and RuPaul Drag Race and fucking goddamn American Idol and shit. You're only as good as your fans. Lowest common denominator. You know, if you heard what a lowest common denominator is, that's the damn problem with this day and age. Yep, still got Vegas going. No, they do that pop up. I hate apps doing that too. See, my computer already own your software. I keep saying, stop showing me your sales, and you just bring up new shit. Once again, no, I'll get it when it's on Humble Bundle and a price that I'm willing to pay. Because just because I use a tool and think it's great, I'm not going to buy it unless I think it's value for money. And you know, would I buy another 5080? Fuck no. Why? Because this is a one-off time in my lifetime computer situation where I'm in a situation where I can just spoil myself and just get a beast computer. Let's do it. But again, I'm not just gaming. If I was just gaming, I could have got a fucking decent computer for a fraction of the price. Same as you. Stop listening to these fucking moronic YouTubers, me included, and giving us views and shit. Start thinking for yourself. Same with politics, religion, everything in this damn world. Stop following the herd. Stop fucking just relying on other people to think for you. Hell, half the people that are against AI really need AI because they need some brains in their life. But yeah, I don't see anybody tackling the subject of the AI stuff, you know, and the AI stuff I see out there is small. I see one video by a Chinese guy that helped me set up an AI on my 5080 series because they're so new that you've got to, like, I said, you know, get PyTorch and stuff that's compatible for CUDA 12.8 to make it work, or it's been a pain in the ass setting stuff up on it because it's new tech. But even then, I don't know what happened. I went back to say to this guy, thank you, lifesaver. I've been working on this for hours, and you helped me fix it in 5 minutes because it was specifically tailored to the fucking 50 series. And it was set to private. So I hope nothing goes wrong there because, yeah, if I have to get a reminder of what I was doing, that video is no longer there. I don't know if the Chinese government came along and said to him, you can't be doing that. But yeah, it's been a while. I'm sorry, it's a rant. But just fucking... You ever get to the point, maybe it's just because I'm 50 now, you know, I've been doing this YouTuber shit for over 12 years, on and off. Yeah, you do start getting jaded. I've always been jaded with the fact, like, I've always tried to maintain a positive attitude and stuff like that, but you get sick and tired of the bullshit in the games us humans play. You know, we should be living on the moon. We're literally in a age of computer chips and satellites, and it feels like you live in a fucking amongst a bunch of prehistoric cavemen dumb cunts some days. Fucking hate, man. If I had $1 for every person who comes up and fucking tries to tell me, who's lived, breathed, and fucking eaten IT all of his own life, though, you know, how things work with technology, and it's like, dude, shut the fuck up. You have no idea what you're talking about. And I've got to sit there, bite my tongue, and smile, because it'd be rude for me to go, no, that's not correct. Even if I wasn't rude about it, if I was civil and go and correct them, they just get hostile and go, oh, you think you're smarter than me. And everybody loses. This whole planet, this whole fucking society, goddamn loses. This whole world. all on a big ball floating through space. Time that a lot more people were aware of that we're not all special and unique. We're all in this terrifying nightmare of a ride together, and can we stop screwing each other over already? Inflation is artificial. Prices are artificial. You got a problem with it? Speak with your fucking wallet. Don't buy those games that are overpriced. They keep making them. Put this away. Have some self-control. You know what? Doom, the Dark Ages, what is it? Single player game. It's still going to be there in a month. It's still going to be there in 12 months. It's still going to be there in 6 months. nvidia's GTX 5080, guess what? They'll still be there in a year or two. And probably a fraction of the price I fucking paid for it. Have some patience. Your shitty 1080 is probably still good enough. I mean, man, the shit I've seen the average person playing games on, and I'm like, oh my God, how are your eyes not bleeding? And they're okay with it, and they're amazed, and I can take their frame rate from 15 frames per second up to like fucking 30, make it at least playable, and they'll be like, oh my God, that's amazing. Well, they're all running at fucking 480p. That's the problem, I think. That's what gets me is the fact that, yeah, man, got these machines that can fucking basically help you build a rocket ship, a Starship Enterprise. And people use it shit to each other on TikTok. It's like, go, you know, really, if you're not a technical person, if you're not going to fucking know what the fuck you're talking about, go back to consoles. And I think that's what it is. PC master race ain't the master race anymore because it's become too mainstream. Lowest common denominator. What's the lowest common denominator? It's a slur that it sounds like. It's the average. It's the norm. It's the basic. This is why Windows, all the problems that people hate about Windows, you know why? Because now Nana's using it. Now your fucking 5-year-old nephew's using it. So they have to dumb it down because you people can't pick up a fucking manual and take 5 minutes to learn how shit works. But then you won't do that, and then you bitch when they remove features and dumb it down for you. No, people like me should be bitching because it's like, what the fuck? This has worked fine for decades. But now it's gone, and now it's dumbed down because fucking people are too moronic to learn how to fucking do anything but turn the computer on and off. And even then they struggle with learning how to turn it off. How block buttons work on Facebook. And that's what these reviewers are starting to feel like. Fucking Karens. Fucking Karens like, yeah, this 5090 isn't as much of an improvement over my 6-month-old 4090 as I thought it would be. Oh no shit, mate. It's been 6 months since you bought that video card. You know, don't sit here going, the ray tracing performance of my fucking current gen GPU is just as good as it was when ray tracing first came out. We're game developers. Why aren't you putting more support? Why haven't you gone back and put fucking ray tracing in fucking the games I play from the 1990s? Madness, man, madness. But anyway, yes, I'm being a little bit ranty tonight and all over the place because it's just, it isn't just about gaming and shit anymore. And it's just getting more and more difficult because it just feels like everything just becomes more brain dead every year, to the point that I'm feeling like, you know what? I'll have my computer and just get rid of the internet. But then it's like, yeah, then I have my computer, what, for doing things for me? I won't be able to connect to the world. I won't be able to make money and shit like that because it's just such a minefield of moronity. Yeah, let's call that moronity. They go on about modernity or whatever, modernity. No, it's moronity. Idiocracy was not meant to be a guideline. It was not meant to be an instruction manual on where mankind's to go. But it really does feel like I want to be like a supremacist, where it's like, if you're not part of the actual PC master race, get the back between a console peasant. But consoles aren't for peasants anymore. They're quite good machines, but you're going to buy into that infrastructure. I want like the freedom of the PC and the internet, but they're slowly taking that away from us, aren't they? Even the AI models and shit, some of them are questionable, and it's amazing how many open source ones all of a sudden disappear and go behind a paywall. It's like, wait, why do I got to pay for this shit when 2 weeks ago, if I'd gotten a bit sooner, I could have been doing it at home? Yeah, make your money, but open source ain't even open source anymore. It's like, why is this shit still on GitHub? If the person hasn't updated it in 5 years and is now selling a paid version through a Patreon paywall, remove them from fucking Git. Isn't Git all about open source, free software? But even go get a Hugging Face and shit to get models and stuff. You're on GitHub, and it's like, Why is the models on a Google Drive and then half the fucking files are missing and shit? AI's got a long way to go, but if we don't do it properly, it's going to be fucked up. It's going to be the mess. It's going to be the internet all over again. It's going to be everything that we've been doing the last few decades. When new shit comes out, we just fucking ruin it. Be patient. These 50 series cards, once they're properly baked, will be amazing. You'll be watch. All of a sudden there'll be people popping videos up like, oh my God, look at what I did. I showed grandma undressing and having sex as a fucking gnome on my own GPU. But that's what you hear with AI, isn't it? Is it's like, oh, I can do deepfakes. I can put that girl's face on that porn star. There's so many of us out there that are doing so much more than that. All right. That's the long story short. If you're not doing anything AI, you don't need a 50 series card. Stick with the last generation. You'll be happily playing Minecraft at, say, 5,000 frames per second. That's a funny thing too, man. It's like how over-spec'd some people are. I remember watching this League of Legends streamer, and he's like, oh, here's my $10,000 gaming computer and shit like that, and he's just like running low-end games on it. Like, wow, man, that wasted hardware. You could have bought a fucking HP laptop and fucking played that game. Fucking influencers and shit like that. People who don't know what the fuck they're talking about. And it's the same when you go to like J-Cars and shit these days. When I was a kid, you went to a Dick Smith's, you had people behind the counter who were nerds who knew what their electronics. They knew the capacitors from a fucking diode, you know. Now you go into these places, and then Dick Smith towards the end, you go in there and you've asked about capacitors and shit like that. They'd be like, what? I'll go look out the back. And they just go out the back and then come out again. They wouldn't even look because they didn't know what they were looking for. Just pretend they did. Under that company went under because they forgot what they were about. And you see the same with J-Cars now. You know, I've had friends complain to me because they go into J-Cars and they got people who know less than them, and they're not like technical people themselves. It's like, oh, I'm looking for this or that, and the person knows nothing about it, no help to them. And it's getting that same way it feels like with technology. Is you've got the people now that are reviewing the technology that they have no fucking idea about because they don't use that technology in the way it's been designed to be used. And that is, AI is here. GPUs aren't just for playing fucking video games. And if you just focus on video games with things like the 50 series of cards, you are missing like 80% of what that video card is about, and you're doing a disservice to yourself as well as your fucking viewers, but most of all your viewers and consumers, because they're going to listen to morons like you, because they're going to go, because little jockey man from Canada, he knows his computer stuff, so I better listen to him. And it's like, does he? He's got a whole fucking team of fucking nerds, and they're all missing this shit. And they did the same things with Windows Millennium, because that was the tangent I went off before. Windows Millennium, all right, I'll give another example here. With Windows Millennium, or Windows ME, as some people called it, people just looked at it as a shitty version of Windows 98. And I couldn't understand why, because for me, it ran rings around Windows 98. And I seem to be the only fucking person on the planet who knows why. And why I had such a good experience with it, and why it was the shittiest version 98. Because there was one little feature that came out. Now look up any Windows Millennium video. All right, here is the Windows Millennium Challenge YouTube challenge. Maybe this will be better than trying to encourage fucking retards to eat fucking Tide Pods. Was that even a thing? Did that even happen? I have to wrap this up soon. I've got to go out to the living room and get myself another pack of ciggies. But all right, Windows Millennium. Go look up any video. Watch how they bitch about it, but see if any of them explain what I'm about to tell you. It's always overlooked and never addressed. Why was Windows Millennium shitty? Because people using it were fucking morons who didn't know what they were doing, weren't they? What do you mean, Rabid? That sounds terrible, calling people fucking morons. No, they are fucking morons. You'll understand why. Windows Millennium brought in a new feature called System Restore that wasn't on previous Windows devices. And System Restore is still on computers to this day. The thing was, we've got a lot more control over System Restore than we did then, but we still had control over there. And what was System Restore? It's very rarely has it ever worked for me. when my computer fucks up, it's just time for a fresh install. Might get away with an in-place install where you sort of install Windows over the top of itself and keep all your apps and files. But System Restore had a bad habit of making a restore point whenever the fuck it felt like it. And it was very, well, mechanical drives, especially slow mechanical drives, it would bog the system down. So me actually knowing what I'm doing, I probably would have been like 16 at the time. Oh, wait, it was 2000 because it was like coming out at the millennium. So 89, I left high school. I finished high school. I was 15. Yeah, grade 10, 15. Every other fucker that graduated that year was 16, 17. Australian schooling system, don't get me started on that. 10 years. So we'll say I was about 26, I think. I could probably Google it anyway, but we'll say I was about 26 when Windows Millennium came out. But I've always been fairly proficient, as anybody knows me, with technology, and a lot of it is self-taught. Why? Because I read the fucking manual. It's that easy. Take 5 minutes to read the friendly manual. So, yeah, Windows ME came out. I think it was, Windows 2000 or something around at the time. It was also coming out. But they did a stopgap because that was like their new operating system was more like business orientated, servers, stuff like that. So they sort of like did for the home user some immediate, like in between version, and that was Windows Millennium. But the only real difference between it and Windows 98 was System Restore. Now, this is on the Voodoo 2 system. I think I had a Pentium 133, I think it was megahertz, 16 megabytes of RAM, and 2 Voodoo 2, 3DFX Voodoo 2s, 8 megabytes each. Well, for a total of 8 megabytes, when it came to practical use. Run through, I think it was an ATI Mac 64 card. Now, I noticed this because things like even antiviruses and stuff, where it'd be like, not connected to the internet, turn your fucking antivirus off because it uses system resources. Any files, any activity happens, it'll scan it, bog your machine down. And I used to laugh because you see people with like 10 different antiviruses installed. Now, these days, with how much hardware power I've got, I could probably install 10 different antiviruses and not notice their bloat slowing everything down. But all you need is Windows Defender, by the way. But I was always tweaking back then, getting games like, even with those 2 Voodoo 2s, due to things like maybe system memory and processor speed. Quake 2 was better than most people were playing it for me, but I would still tweak it because you want to get those frame rates, especially when you're on dial-up and you're playing online. Every frame counts. But I sort of knew what I was doing. And one of the first things I learned about and did was I went and disabled System Restore. Because I was like, yeah, this is sort of shit. Maybe people got a point, but let's see if we can fix this. And it was System Restore. I was like, what's the difference between Windows 98 and Windows Millennium? Because everybody's just saying Windows Millennium is just a shitty version of Windows 98. So I was like, let's see what's different. What's different? And the only thing I could see that was different was System Restore. So I disabled it. Made a single restore point and then turned it off. After that, my benchmarks for Windows Millennium outpaced. The same hardware, I was getting much, much better 3D Mark scores. What was it? Mad Onion 3D Mark or something back in then. It was like a benchmark and it was an attack chopper flying around a map sort of thing. And all my frame rates, everything shot up once I got rid of System Restore. And now that's the challenge. Go back and see how many people in those videos talk about System Restore. And if you disable it, Windows Millennium is great because I can tell you now, you won't find a single one of them. They might make a reference to System Restore being introduced, but not a single one of them said, oh, by the way, the reason that Windows Millennium had a reputation for being shit was because of System Restore, and all you had to do was turn it off. Hell, if you want to turn it on, but when you're doing stuff like playing games or watching a shitty low-res video on the internet, turn it off. The same as if you're not doing anything online, you're not installing new apps and stuff, you're just using folders, you can turn your antivirus off. I mean, I'm one of these people, I think I could honestly get online and surf the net without an antivirus, play games and shit, because I know what I'm doing. I know what goes onto my computer, or I'd like to know what's going onto my computer. It's getting harder to do with a lot of these companies now doing this opt-in, opt-out shit, where I've even got video games. I installed Dead Island 2 the other day, and I was like, wait, when did I agree to you tracking my data? It was already activated. I had to go in there and turn that off, and it wouldn't do it. I had to go to this other site and do something so I can go back to Dead Island 2 and turn off their data harvesting bullshit. But I can do that because I know what the fuck I'm doing. I take the time to know what I'm doing. I don't just plug shit in and press a on button and then just autopilot. I don't rely, and it's even worse, especially because we've got such a vast library at our hands now with Google and Bing and all these search engines that have been around forever. They're not as good as they used to be, but basically anything you want to know, you can find out on the internet. So many people just don't. They don't. They'll go to Facebook and see somebody fucking say something and take it as gospel. And that's what I'm telling you to do. Don't take everything as gospel. Don't take what I'm saying. See what I said. My YouTube Windows Millennium Challenge. Don't take my word for stuff. Go look for it yourself. The same as with COVID. Next time we have a pandemic, don't believe the fucking news. Don't trust the science. Know the science. Go to these CDC sites and these vaccine sites and read their own paperwork and stuff on them. Yeah, you'd be amazed at the shit that they publicly announced that if you repeated it on Reddit or any other site like that would get you labelled an anti-vaxxer or crazy or whatever. And it's like, but no, what I just quoted was Pfizer was saying, the American CDC was saying, the Australian government official sites. Why the fuck is all the official science saying one thing, but the media is saying another? It doesn't make sense. But anti-vaxxer. And now what are they selling us? Oh, yes, it came out of a lab in Wuhan. It's this and it's that and it's this. And if you said that fucking, 4 years ago on YouTube, you'd be banned. Your content would be fucking struck. You'd have a stupid warning for saying factual things. But you know what you didn't get struck for? Actually repeating bullshit fake news. And that's what I feel like we're going through with this GPU shit now. This goddamn fake news, because they're not giving you the whole story. They're just taking things out of context. They're cherry picking. They're not giving you the bigger picture. And why? Because it's all about the views. It's all about that click through. It's all about that revenue. And I could do that, but I don't. That's why you get shit like this. This is why you get a fucking toothless 50-year-old Australian man fucking ranting all over the place. You know what? I could write scripts. I could edit and shit like that. But it's fake. It's bullshit. You're getting the real deal with me. Like I said, when you watch fucking LTT, some of those people are genuine, but you're not seeing the real Linus Sebastian. When you're watching Gamers Nexus, I don't think you're seeing the real Steve. When you're watching Hardware Unboxed, you're not seeing those two fellas, the real version of them. And if you watch a lot of them from the beginning, like some of us have, and you've got half a brain and you're observant, you will see they're not the same people they used to be. Because it does change you. That celebrity, that money, that being in the spotlight, it does change a lot of people. Use your brain, stay humble. That's what I'll say. But yeah, I think it was Captain Disillusion CD. The guy who does the YouTube videos. I won't even talk about him because I actually do like the guy. But yeah, a recent video of his I found disappointing for certain reasons that weren't even to do with the content of his video. But as he used to say, I think it was something along the lines of, feel with your heart, think with your brain, or something like that. Like, don't, use your brain for thinking, but use your heart for feeling. Don't let your heart lead you astray. Don't believe shit because you want to believe it. Stop deluding yourself and live in reality. You'll be much happier if you do. Because, I'm never disappointed when I know what I'm getting. I'm disappointed when my video card just doesn't fucking work. That's what would annoy me. But when I have bought something and it works the way as advertised, as the way it's intended, and I accepted that price, what have I got to complain about? Especially if I got it for free as a sponsorship deal or a review sample. I definitely don't feel like I could be fucking complaining about it. But most of all, don't be surprised when you're updating your fucking undies every 2 months that, you don't see people like that, like, oh, I bought this pair of Bonds underwear a month ago, and now I've got the new pair of Bonds underwear, but I don't know, they're not more comfortable. They're almost the same. Yeah, because it's only been a month. And we have, like I said, I've not really seen anything apart from frame gen with these AI cores are being used yet, and I've been using a shitload of AI stuff. It is still doing it like any other video card, I think. Once people start, especially the Chinese, once the Chinese get their hands on these AI core side of things and start making their Huion videos and their Huion 3D and their Hugging Face stuff and all that, whatever the hell they're in control of now, it's hard to keep up with, old Tencent taking over the world. You will all of a sudden seeing all these videos that are going, this is why you want a 5060, this is why you want a 5090, this is why you want a 5080, 50. This is why you want NVIDIA over AMD. You watch. You fucking watch. Even I think it was Steve, like he does that self-righteous thing where it's like, oh, there's nothing wrong that if NVIDIA wants to focus on businesses, blah, 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 they should do that and they should accept it and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, but that's it. They are doing that because you know what? They don't have to focus on multi-million-dollar companies. I'm self-employed, and I use this shit. Don't tell them fucking I'll focus on the big multi-billion-dollar companies, because small people and small businessmen and women like myself, we need this shit. And hey, I'm not just a businessman, I'm a gamer. I got best of both worlds. Like I said, you want a fucking game, go to AMD. You want to do everything else, NVIDIA. But most of all, stick with what suits you and what is within your budget. Don't like the price, don't fucking buy it. You don't like the product, don't look at it. But don't just listen to these fucking morons that are only painting a half a picture, and that's being generous, because they're definitely painting less than half a picture. I don't think a lot of these are being genuine. It is just that, good news and being polite and old man and don't sell. People on YouTube and Twitch and all the Instagram, whatever, they want dramas, man. They want clickbait material. They want memes. Probably happy to watch Steve go, my hair, my split end hair. Get a haircut, bro. Get a haircut. At least get those split ends fixed up. Go get some fucking, what is it, VO5 or whatever, hot oil treatment. I forget what it was the girls used to use in the 80s. Just, man. It is, because that's the next thing they're going to be bitching about. We keep pissing off all these big companies. They don't give us free shit and we don't get access like we used to anymore. Where? We got no content because nobody will talk to us, because they're going to be worried about when we're going to do our next hit piece. That's what our next hit piece is. How well the media won't talk to us, and it's all their fault, not ours. Well, not the media. Well, the big tech companies won't talk to us, and it's all their fault. It's all their fault. We didn't do this. We didn't keep pissing them off. I mean, there's things you can fairly complain about when it comes to NVIDIA, AMD, Intel, all these companies. But focus on the shit that's worth complaining about. Stop these fucking non-starter stories. It's just fucking ridiculous. It is fucking ridiculous. But anyway, I want a cigarette. I want a coffee. That's enough from me. I am working in a lot of things, but these things take time, and sometimes they don't always come to fruition. Big focus of mine at the moment is my AI-generated music. And it's not AI-generated because I write all the lyrics, I refine everything. I'm the one who has to come up with the tags that tells the style. It's basically I'm producer and director and the songwriter. And another way, if you want to sell for songs, AI generated or not, ask the person who created it to sing it. That's how you can tell. If they can't sing their own fucking song by heart, then you know they have gone and got an AI to write the lyrics for them. It can be infinite skies, infinite dreams, too much fear, so it seems. I got a brain that's wired to fly. I know my fucking lyrics. But that's the sort of stuff I'm working on. Let me know in the comments. I've always said this for many years. What do you actually want to watch? I'll produce it. If you want me to do tutorials on how to set up AI on a 5080, let me know. Because, hey, if I have to sit there for 24 hours to get shit to work to the point that it can be done in 5 minutes, maybe you want me to show you how to do the 5-minute version. If there's an LLM, anything interests you, tech and stuff, if it's within my realms of both finances and patience, I will give it a shot. Because I don't want to be one of these big YouTubers that gets out of touch, like the ones I've been mentioning. And I want to be down on this level with you where I'm, what I'm doing is the sort of stuff you might be doing. Got 3D printer there. Is there something 3D printing? I haven't done it for a while. I am planning on buying a house and moving, and I am planning on when that happens, because that's been part of the problem with this YouTube shit, is renting. I can't go ripping things out. I can't renovate. I can't goddamn build a studio. But I'm hoping that when I buy a house, it'll have a 2-car garage I can convert into an office/studio space. as well as, get me properly involved in 3D printing, because I do want to upgrade to a modern day 3D printer, because there's some great offerings out there now. A lot easier than my Ender 3 that was just like a hobbyist 3D printer, as in the 3D printer is the hobby because you spend years getting it working properly before you can use it. Anyway, that was one of my unscripted rants. Watch it, don't. Hit like and subscribe, or don't. I don't give a fuck. But it does help. It does help with this sort of stuff. And watch this space. Again, I'm happy to engage with my audience. So drop a comment. If I see it, I'll reply to it, as I always do. But tell me what you want to see. Come along and tell me how terrible my teeth are. I haven't had somebody do that for a while. But next time you see me, I shall hopefully be shaven, looking a bit more neater. I'm so happy. I found my Pokemon t-shirt. It was, for some reason, in Gizmo's cupboard for months and months and months. I thought it was lost. All right. Well, thank you very much for watching, people. I will see you on the next stream or upload or whatever the hell I'm doing. Maybe I'll see you on the Discord server. Maybe I'll see you in a game. I don't know. I don't even know what I'm fucking doing tomorrow. Just one day at a time. All right. Thanks for watching. Hopefully this was either entertaining at least, or maybe you found something that, resonated with you. It'd be so funny if one of these big YouTube companies did see it and was like, "Oh my god, now independent YouTubers are calling our shit out." Or get cease and desist, takedown notices. But see, that's what I'm talking about. See, I know how the game works. That would be a great thing, man, because there ain't nothing like having a spotlight put on you if you want to get famous. Me, I don't give a fuck. I like being small and humble and egotistical and arrogant and everything else that I am. I ain't doing this for the audience. I don't need people to like me. You either like me or you don't. Have a great weekend. I'm Rabid. You've been watching our Rabid's Unbreakable Gamers. You've been watching me shoot the shit. See ya in the future. Bye-bye.